Hello, greetings and salutations, Val Verde Broadcasting. Do you remember us? No, neither do we. It's Richard Junkson.
Yes.
And and Danksard Quath. It's been so long, I've forgotten my own name. But we're back with what we do, which is a commentary, a long requested commentary. I'm not going to bother introducing us like I do and saying who we are. Look below, look us up, Google it. Who cares? So we've been asked to do this for a long time, and have intended to do so for a long time. But we've both been busy boys. You with your gaffering and having your teeth kicked in, and me with my general busybosiness, but we finally managed to carve out some time to sit down and talk about this horrendous train wreck. No, not really. But shall we just kick it off and then we can kind of get into it? I think that's probably the best thing, isn't it?
Yes. So should we count the folks in to press play on their copy? Their copy of Terminator Dark Fate. It's on Disney Plus, which is how we're watching it, and I'm sure it's available on a streaming service wherever you are or whatever.
That being in hell.
In hell. So I'll count in. I'm going to say, I'm going to do what Duncan and I do. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, turn, a la the film Terminator 2. So when I say turn, press play on your copy of Terminator Fart Date. 3, 2, 1, turn.
You've got to put the emphasis.
Turn. Hail the wife and kids.
I see now.
Oh, hold on. The sound's coming out my TV, and I don't want to get a copyright strike.
Yeah,
I get that coming out of my headphones.
I seem to recall us being more favourable than I think we're going to be on this when we reviewed it.
Well, I mean, my view on it, and it's the faintest of faint praise, but my view on it is it's the least worst post-Terminator 2 film. You know, after Terminator 2, this is, I don't want to call it the best one, it's the least worst one. I think it's a pointless exercise and all the rest of it. But it's the best one of the bunch. I really don't like it, just to be totally clear. I don't know, it doesn't add anything. It doesn't really, it does, if anything, it retreads things, because they kind of did the whole, oh no, we're completely restarting. You know, we're ignoring all those completely. It does so to a degree where it repeats things from Terminator Genesis, Terminator 3. You know,
it's like if you're ignoring them, don't do them. Like, the point of ignoring them is because they were bad.
But they're ignoring them to a degree where, like, you know, if someone who hadn't watched them, they're repeating things from them because they just didn't know it had been done before. You know what I mean? That's not.
Yeah, it's almost like we're ignoring them, and by that we mean we've never watched them.
Yes, which is the best attitude to take. But you know, annoyingly, weirdly,
see,
here
we open with
they don't. Yeah. They cut out her when she says Silberman.
Silberman, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, I know, which was so notable to me, because that's the thing. Is like, again, and this is a sort of running theme of this film, and a big criticism for me is it's not for anyone. So if you're a Terminator fan, you know that dialogue well, like we do, right? We know that dialogue like the back of our hand, and as soon as something's absent from it like that, it rings alarm bells, because you kind of go, well, hang on, she's supposed to say, you know, Silberman there, and doesn't. So you're like, why? And that immediately throws you off. I remember just being like, why remove that? Is it so that Earl Bowen doesn't get a cut?
Because he owns the name Silberman. He gets like a royalty.
It's very weird. It might be a rights thing, I don't know. But then that's clearly the footage from, unless they painstakingly redid it. I don't think so.
No, it is the footage. Yeah, they've just. Yeah. I will say, I believe it was Logan Watkins. I'm sorry if I got this wrong, but Logan Watkins, and I could be wrong, worked on this, and I think he commented on our video about it, and he was listening to our Terminator-related content whilst this was in production. Which I think.
So we may or may not be indirectly responsible for.
Yes, we are. Yeah. Butterfly effects.
You can see a Terminator has got a dick or something.
A farty bum.
Yes.
So no problem with that. That in principle, I think that looks really cool with the Terminators coming out the sea. I think it's cool.
It does, but it's got those like World War II era,
the kind of tank
anti-landing craft.
Things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that for? See this? I hate this. I think, it looks great. I mean, obviously.
Oh yeah, technologically it's superb. Of course, no. Technologically it's superb. There's no question. In terms of its storytelling and its intent, it's just like, well, You know, like, there is a lot of discussion about Alien 3 and how Alien 3 starts, but then it takes you on a certain journey in a Dow way. But I wouldn't be in a hurry to repeat the beginning of Alien 3, which is what this does. It just kind of invalidates the previous film completely.
Yeah.
And it's not just the fact that they kill John, but it's also like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter about John, because whatever happens there would just be another type of Terminator war. You know, because there's not even Skynet in this. You know, Skynet's
like,
gone.
so, again, who's this for? I've nothing invested. You've just killed all my investment in the first two films. I also don't know why he wouldn't kill her, but there you go.
Dude, he'll kill like a random policeman, but he won't kill Sarah Connor. It's just like, and he's like,
she might fart out another John Connor.
That's true. He may make another one. All you have to do is get pregnant again and call it John.
Yeah,
even if it's a girl, doesn't matter. Adopt a dog.
And then I love that shot as well. It's like he just walks off, like, I'm going to walk into the sea now. It's like, where's he going?
Everything's better down where it's wetter, under the sea.
Yeah, I've always wanted to live under the sea.
Oh, Terminator, that's your solution to everything.
No, it's like it kills all the investment you had in the first two, and like you say, because it essentially then just retreads what the first two did. It's sort of why should we be invested in that? It just begs the question: are you just going to do this? It so thinks it's got big boy pants for doing that, doesn't it? It so thinks that's clever and big. But you know, because it costs a lot of money to do those shots, it happens so quickly and off the cuff, and it's just kind of like, Joanne was killed while I was... Well, John was killed while I was...
Linda Hamilton, everybody.
Yeah. I'm Linda Hamilton. Lovely cigarettes.
Oh, la-di-da, Mr. Frenchman. What do you call it? A killbot?
I park it in my car hole.
I'm enjoying this all a bit too much.
Yeah.
And also, superb cast. And I think Linda Hamilton, one of the best things about this is Linda Hamilton, because she fucking gives it 150%. She's amazing. She sits back to the role. She's essentially retired from acting. She does bits and pieces. We've been missing out on having Linda Hamilton in things. I think she's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in this turns in a bad performance. I think everyone wants to do everything that they can to make it work. And I do think, like, as a story, like, I think Mackenzie Davis is really good.
Yeah.
I think, by and large, the actress who plays Dani Ramos, whatever.
She's probably my least favourite, actually.
She's my least favourite. I wouldn't say she's terrible, but she's not given much to do. You know, she just has to run around and shriek. And
she has to do a lot of looking incredulous, doesn't she?
She has to do quite the vault fast, though, which seems to happen right around that moment where, you know, for whatever reason, Carl's fridge is full of melons, and they need to have a shoot the thing, and suddenly, all of a sudden, it's like she's a crack shot because she's angry or whatever. It's like, because that's how it works.
Yeah, because she's got like genetic being a good shooting.
Yeah. So it's kind of, I don't know.
And you know what as well? I think I know there's a lot more to it than just the director, which is a mistake people often make. But I think Tim Miller knows his way around an action scene. I think this stuff, the way it's a bit green screeny, but I think the staging of it's really good. I think her physicality is really good. I think it makes sense as an enhanced human. She can kind of scan and predict their movements and stuff. Great. You know, so I think in a filmmaking sense, there's not a lot wrong with it. I think the intent of it and the script of it are where the problems are. It's just a very unsatisfying watch, because it's kind of like it just wipes out the last film, and then it's kind of like, okay, more of that then. And it's like, do you know what? There wasn't more Terminator. I've said this so many times. There's no more Terminator to tell.
We've said this till we're blue in the face. There's arguably no more Terminator after the first film. You know, the second one just about gets away with it. But
the second one stretches it, frankly, and it's a fucking. We love the second film, of course, but like it stretches credulity in terms of what can. Luckily, it does it with such charm and stuff that it gets away with it. You know, I think that's the thing. It's just charm and panache and just sheer spectacle. But yeah, it's kind of like
sheer spectacle, and I think thematically it's sound. I just don't think it's bearing in mind what's set up in the first one and everything. I just don't think it. You know, tonally, I think it obviously jumps the rails a bit, but it's fine. It's fine. I read a thing. Who was that? What was it? A podcast? I can't remember. But there's the sort of reason for why a lot of modern films have that kind of washed out look is and lack of contrast is so that they can match shots more easily. So
it makes sense. So they shoot it essentially. Well, I think everything gets shot flat profile, but these days. But I suppose you kind of then light it in a way that means you can match and grade more easily.
Yeah.
So
the end result is deeply unsatisfying.
Well, I mean, in terms of the color palette and stuff in this, it's not terribly exciting. I don't know. I can't remember who the DOP was on this, and they're doing a better job than I would do. But it's, I don't know. The Terminator should have a kind of look. It's something that Genesis kind of mimicked well when it suited them, because they literally had JPEGs, I guess, of the Terminator that they could copy from. I will say this: the thing is that this has what kind of Terminator Salvation has. Is like the people who made Terminator Salvation really fucking cared. They didn't make a good film, but they cared. They cared a bit too much. Whereas like the people who made Terminator Genesis didn't give a shit. They just wanted money. And it really. I mean, Skydark's still involved at this point, but like Terminator Genesis is so, and Terminator 3 as well. They're so disrespectful of the source material. Whereas this and Terminator Salvation, Terminator Salvation is kind of cloyingly obsessed with the source material.
I remember when Genesis was talked of, and it was kind of, I think, originally conceived of as a remake, and then they shut
I didn't know that.
Tried to make it some sort of hybrid, and it's kind of like because you can see why lots of elements of the script are kind of kept and not, and it dips its toe in the original water. But and in a way, like if you have to make a bloody Terminator film, that's really the only way to do it. But then you can't set it in modern day because none of it would make any. It's like, well, when you've got cell phones and stuff, this is again a problem this has. Like everyone's got to put their bloody phones in chip bags because otherwise. And then the thing can just plug in and then it knows where everything is.
Well,
anyway,
it can just look at,
yeah,
this is a problem. In the age of the internet, and you've got a hypercomputer in a killer skeleton, it can just do anything. It can do anything. And they do that in this. I like how that applies pressure to the chase scenario, because they can't just run and they can't just hide. They have to really hide. They have to hide their digital signatures and everything. But it also requires, like every horror film now has to have the people go to the cabin and go, well, our cell phones don't work, and like they have to explain why, this happens.
One thing they need to explain why he's naked, because once again, if you're going to do this liquid metal crap,
just like the T1000, just like the TX. Also, this is just the TX. You can say it all you want, but it is the exact same thing. It's like, no, because it could turn into an octopus. No, it's a fucking TX.
Well, that's it. Especially when you've got like Terminators that change, thing. And why is he him? Why isn't he changing into her or someone? You know what I mean? Like whatever. It's kind of like the idea of a gendered Terminator. So like when you see the TX's endoskeleton, it's like a female. But to what end?
Yeah,
like,
why? That
why
just limits what it can do, surely.
And it turns into men and stuff. And the thing, so it's like, why does it need tits?
So they call it, like, the thing is, in the script, he refers to it as a Terminatrix in Terminator 3. And then, like, TX implies Terminatrix. And it's like, well, I think I've probably said this before, but you don't call, like, the T-800's not called the Hunkinator. Like, why would it be? I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like this stupid studio wouldn't listen to my notes.
Yeah, because he wanted to get the Terminator drunk or whatever.
Oh yeah, all that a little bit alcohol. It's like you didn't understand a bloody thing, did you?
It's, the more you realise he just kind of turns up and takes his paycheck, which is good for him. Whatever. We've yet to mention, of course, that this is the James Cameron Terminator 3. Yeah, okay, sure. Sure it is. The James Cameron Terminator 3 was made in an alternate timeline in 1995 or 1998 or 1999, and isn't good either. Yeah, because
there's a comic that they made that I think came the closest, which was about the fact that his. See, whenever someone's got green gloves or anything green in a scene now, I just think it looks like someone forgot to do the special effects, like the after effects. On, like,
it's terrible, isn't it? Oh, there's like a blue sheet. It's like, is that?
Yeah. Is that supposed to be something else? There was a comic book that was kind of based around like certain things from the second film that kind of like the fact that he left his arm in a cog that they never got rid of and that kind of stuff. So there was sort of like, okay, yeah. So there was then the potential for more, but it's like, again, but why? You know, Terminator 2 gets to throw away an awful lot of stuff because it is effectively saying, yeah, I know I set up a bunch of stuff in the last one, but you know what? There's still more. There's more of a story to tell and a theme to explore. But then after that, there isn't. Like, there just isn't. There's no more you can do with that. You know, especially because the second one's about role reversal. So it literally flips everything on its head, 180 degrees, and it's like, cool, but then what's the other way of doing it? If you do it again, you've got back to where you started. You've gone 360, which is essentially what Terminator 3 does. It's just like, right, we're just back here again, are we? Like, it's like, what?
I sort of want to go in and take their arms out in After Effects for a laugh. Just for a laugh.
Put in giant forks.
Big fork, yeah, like that Harry Enfield sketch about Terminator. Yeah. And then this whole bit here is like they're doing the two converging Terminators from Terminator 2, except we know one of them's a Terminator because we've seen him do Terminator stuff. So, and the cat's on the back, so it's like, I do really like, I think Gabriel Luna's really great. I really like him as the T, whatever the fuck he's called. Oh no, it's called like the T Reaper or whatever. Oh, the Rev 9, because like Revelations 9, what is like in a Bible.
Like a machine again. Well, this is the thing: is like Skynet in the first two, especially, was sort of a clearly, you know, it was the omnipresent, but you never met it or anything. But it was this thing you got a sense of, right? Right. In this, it's just like, oh, but there was another one. What is it called in this? It's like it's just everything's the same but has a different name. It's like,
yeah, and you would think there would be something interesting to say there with the kind of you know, the new Skynet, whatever the fuck it's called. It's called like the Convergence or whatever. Maybe you could use that to comment on kind of technology now and update the premise. No, give it a different name and it makes octopus Terminators. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's yeah, I hate it. So anyway,
when everything's covered in this kind of Marvel, you know, superhero way, and everyone's got skid to a halt like that, right, going backwards, because that's just what we have to do. And she's
that's
cool.
great, but
she is cool, and I do love her, and I, you know, because she got a lot of shit over this, which
well, that's just some twats on the internet, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong in what she's doing or how she looks whatsoever.
No.
It's just twats on the internet. She's fantastic. She had a really great little turn in Blade Runner. Fucking San Junipero, man. The Black Mirror episode she was in. It's probably my favourite. Beautiful music by Clint Mansell, and she shoulders that whole episode because it's all about her.
Okay.
Really, really superb modern sci-fi. But so again, in principle, I kind of like, you know, how the head absorbs the hammer and stuff. But it's just kind of in the context of something. Oh yeah, that's it. Because the reason it's not a TX is because you can split into two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're independent, and it's like, yeah, but wasn't the TX? I mean,
yeah, and you can send the little boy out, but then there's a big skeleton just standing around.
And it's like, and then what's the advantage of having the skeleton? Like, what does it do?
What's it add? Exactly.
It's just like having a hanger-on that you've got to bother with every.
Oh, Clive's coming. Yeah, but is he bringing the skeleton? Yeah, he is. Oh, fuck's sake. He sits there grinning, doesn't say anything. It's really boring.
It's hanging out with Alan Partridge.
You're right, Clive. I see you bought your mate.
Technically, we're the same. Anyway.
Oh,
yeah, it's just, yeah. I mean, there's some imagery in here that is all right, but if shot with a bit more style, this is the trouble. The style of it is all just sort of typical, you know, modern day action.
It's very high end, but in the way that it's very slick. Like, it looks like a Marvel movie, and it probably shouldn't. Because Terminator 1 is very rough and punky and film grainy and cheap and guerrilla. The second one is not that, but it is quite idiosyncratic. It has a very distinct look.
Well, and that gives it that meta, again, that sort of meta role reversal, because the first one, like you say, is very grimy and very low budget, but that works for it. It makes it work in its favour. The second one has a giant budget and has to be big and glossy, so it's about, you know, it's about saying the role of this film has changed. The whole thing is different, you know. It's just,
this isn't the same.
Yeah,
this looks the same, but isn't the same. So they're both Adam Greenberg, DOP, I believe, for the first two, and that kind of, because Cameron likes his blues, right? So there's loads of blue in those two movies, and there is still a connective tissue in their look. It's something that the Terminator movies just don't seem interested in carrying on, even when you bring back Cameron, who, is kind of hands off really in this, isn't he? He was part of. I've heard this as well. Something I've heard consistently is that because you had David Goyer, you had Tim Miller, and you had Cameron. I think there's some others in the mix, and they did like a story group and come up with this, which they probably got sent to sit in a hotel suite somewhere, paid loads of money to pull this very, very, very slowly out their arse like a used condom pulled from the rectum of a dog that's eating it in a park, torturously. And they argued, and it seems Tim Miller disagreed with James Cameron, had a really bad time making this. Cameron wanted one thing, Miller wanted another. Miller kept getting pushed back on because it wasn't his thing. So what you get, really, I think its biggest crime is just being so fucking pedestrian. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's that filmmaking by committee. I mean, because obviously the first two are quite auteur-led, really. I mean, they're sort of Cameron's baby. Whereas this is just, it just feels like, for all the pretense of this is the real Terminators, right, and all that shit, it does seem like a series of, action wants strung together by story. I always find this sus as well. Whenever you look at the highway and it's like cars from about 20 years ago, you go, well, that's because you're going to destroy them.
I've never
thought
cars. Of that. That's never occurred to me.
Like none of those are modern cars. Why not? I mean, I don't know. It just I just feel like it's like, oh, so we can have this action sequence. And we know, again, that's a Marvel thing, isn't it? They sort of string together
things they've prevised.
Yeah, wasn't that thing from Black Widow? Was like a bunch of those action sequences were prevised like 10 years ago.
Yeah, because she had to jump out of a Death Star or whatever, and fuck it. God, we reviewed that. It's so boring. I forgot we reviewed it. But there you go. Though I just saw the Multiverse of Madness last week, and there was a trailer for the Multiverse of Madness. I don't know what I'm saying on that. For Avatar 2, Look, Here's Some Water, or whatever it's called. And it was like, but this is footage from Avatar 1.
Yeah.
It was so just
I saw it as well.
And I knew it was going to be like that. I knew it was going to just be fucking, loads of fucking Fern Gully Smurf Last of the Mohicans going, oh, trees. That's my entire... I only watched Avatar because I had to write an essay on it. And I didn't detest it, but I was very bored for 2.5 or 9 hours or whatever it was. And because I watched it in 2D at home, I didn't experience it as a theme park ride, which is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, well, I did. I saw it in the cinema in 3D, and again, it was very much a Lord of the Rings experience for me. It was like I really liked it when I saw it. I was like, oh wow, that's big and crazy and cool. And then tried to rewatch it on television and was just like, this is really boring. I can't be bothered.
Well, that's it's designed as a theme park ride, and I've said my Cameron P.T. Barnum thing before, which I've never followed up on, but its movie is a spectacle. I'll be really interested to see if Avatar 2 makes $1 billion because people always say, well, he's not going to do that, and he does. Titanic was supposed to be a huge failure. Like Avatar was going to be a huge failure. There were doubts about Terminator 2. Like it, people really fucking liked Avatar, and it's like, is that still in the popular consciousness? Is that still there? Are the people who watched Avatar going to go back? Because a lot of your audience, it's been so long, a big section of your audience basically weren't sentient when the first one came out.
Well, if you were born the year it came out, you're 13 now. So it's like, well,
fuck, it's been that long.
Yeah, it's like, so I mean,
because Terminator 2 was less than 10 years. It was like 8 or 9 years, wasn't it? It was
7.
Fucking hell, it was even less.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe. But like, did it? And that was a pre-Marvel world as well. So you say what you like about that, but like that's the way it works now. It's like brand recognition was all we thought it was king, but it wasn't. But it is now, so don't worry.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're right. I think I'd be interested to see if it breaks his winning streak. But then it's like it's every 20 years this bloke turns up and you're supposed to like it. It's weird. I mean, but then bearing in mind it's not Avatar that he has to beat anymore. It's the Avengers, isn't it? It's that because he's been surpassed. So it's like that there are. He's got a much higher bar to clear, and I don't think inflation's going to do it for him. You know what I mean? Like I think he's going to have to. I don't know. And is there any appetite for, because like you said, the trailer's very sort of nebulous and high-minded. It's all very kind of like, was it like we're family or whatever? Like, oh, let's go fly around on our fucking.
Have they got a baby blue now? I just sat with my arms
Probably
folded and
something
just
like that.
kind of. I think I forgot it whilst I was watching it.
It is sort of visual lobotomy of sorts. It's just sort of. I was just like, well, yeah. I mean, I don't care. It's it's one of those. I am not inspired to rush to the cinema to see it, and I have seen every James Cameron film at the cinema that I've been old enough to, but then that's like 3.
Right,
like
yeah,
Titanic, Avatar, and friggin', and I guess this one. What else has he done? I don't even know what he's done in the meantime. Fannied about at the bottom of the sea.
all those fucking oceanography kind of docs and stuff. And
That's why Schwarzenegger walks off into the sea. I'm off to see the Mariana Trench.
to discover new types of shellfish. I kind of like how the skeleton has a hollow head, because then that's where its brain goes in. Not its brain, but it needs space for the fucking. And it's not like the T-1000 you see, because it's black goo. Which, as I'm sure you understand, is utterly different
Because of the spelling.
And also, yes, because exactly. Sarah's been great intro for old Sarah as well. I like this shot's great. The kind of thing where she kind of pegs them down and then.
It's cool, but the thing is, it's sort of meaningless because we don't say anything with it. Other than I know she's sort of hardened because but then it's kind of like she's just been going around wiping out Terminators. And then drinking herself stupid, and I don't know that that's enough of a sort of character develop, from a place where she lost John, because it's like, wouldn't you think at that point she'd become quite nihilistic and just stop bothering?
Yeah, just let them have it,
Yeah,
but then
I don't know.
They they need to do fucking Dark Knight Returns or whatever, because this is the same.
Yeah.
What was it? It was like this, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw, and there was like another. All did the same thing at the same time. Texas Chainsaw had
the Menopause trilogy.
The Menopause trilogy. They had to recast the lead from Texas Chainsaw because she's 75 years old and she's dead.
More importantly, she did.
Why don't we get back the original Radioactive Man? I keep telling you. So
up and at them.
Up and at them. It's the same thing. It's the returning heroine who's septuagenarian comes back and does a fighting. And this is so similar to the Halloween one, which I still do not get the fuss over, the newest Halloween. And again, Jamie Lee Curtis never really went away. And Jamie Lee Curtis is amazing in it because she's Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
And, we had Jamie Lee Curtis being amazing in Knives Out as well. But, we don't have that for Linda Hamilton. But it's the same thing. And there's so many...
Jamie Lee Curtis in that... I mean, Linda Hamilton just about gets away with it in this because I do think they actually give her some relevance, though it is quite hackneyed. But I agree. I think Jamie Lee Curtis in the new Halloween, and I don't mean the new Halloween 2,
Halloween
3.
Kills is the new Halloween.
Yeah, the one I saw, the one before it, which is technically Halloween 3.
Just to clarify, the third film called Halloween.
Yeah. The newest one must be Halloween 3-2 or something.
I keep saying
like
it,
that.
but nobody says Halloweens. It should be Halloween.
Yeah. So I do think in that she does lack agency in a way because she's just like a crotchety old, sort of grandma / survivalist grandma, and it's like right. And that's it. She's just sort of angry and she's constantly screeching about Michael, and then eventually at the end, oh yeah, she was right, I guess. And then she sets fire to the house, but having learned nothing, doesn't wait around for it to burn down and kill him. And I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it was just all kind of like right. It's just bigger, more bombastic, but ultimately.
Well, it's yet another thing as well where the star or the heroes. It's the Star Wars thing. They were robbed of their resolution and their peace and their rewards. It's like, no, they've been sad forever for 40 years and everything sucks because that's clever somehow. And it's like, how? And then you get people defending it, kind of going like, ew, if you can't handle it because there are no such thing as happy endings. It's like, no, I just think there could be something a bit more complex than just they're sad and everything's shit because all we do is sit around wanking off to Frank Miller 40 years too late. You know what I mean?
Well, we've spent so long talking about those and talking about, you know, sequels to different franchises and all that kind of thing. And then when they do come along, they're ultimately unfulfilling because, you know, everyone's so preoccupied with Subversion. That's the trouble. Everyone's going like saying, well, we can't do what people think we're going to do. Let's throw them a curveball. We're actually just going to shit all over what they really like. And it's like, well, then what was the point in doing it in the first place? If you're nostalgia wanking like this is, it's like, oh, we've perfectly, well, not perfectly, we've recreated Linda Hamilton, Schwarzenegger and Eddie Furlong to totally shit on them. It's like, well, why did you do that? Like,
It's a real slap in the face,
who's that
isn't it?
for?
And then you get people going like, well, if you can't handle it, you just don't get it. And it's like, I get it perfectly well. It just is creatively bankrupt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what annoyed me about the Star Wars films. Kind of like, well, it wouldn't be like that. And it's like, it would, because it's about magical space wizards. It's not a documentary. When you fuckers get your head around this?
I say to those people, if I don't get it, you explain it to me.
Yeah.
And then they'll just go like, well, because life is shit. And it's like, well, that's not a thesis on which I wish to hang my hat. You know, it's like, it's not a satisfying...
At best, you'll get it's more cooler.
Satisfying. Yeah.
It's more cooler because it's grim and gritty. So when someone says gritty, I don't always, but I quite often go, I'm not sure if I trust anything you say. It's just such a hackneyed word. I hate it. Like, and don't get me wrong, if you were to take me to task on that, there's those people I love and respect who say gritty, but it's just like, oh, it's more grittier, and it's like, what? Fine,
Well, if they use it as an adjective or a, you know, or a prefix like a gritty reboot, it's like, what? Like, you know, like that, because that was sort of Batman Begins' fault, really. But in the context of that, I suppose it was, bearing in mind what came before.
I think people have misinterpreted what Batman Begins did, because it's kind of like, oh right, so we have to reboot Dazzler, but she's got AIDS. It's like, no, that's not. Because if you watch Batman Begins, admittedly this is content, we're divorced by years in its context, but if you watch Batman Begins, it's actually quite goofy, particularly not compared to the Batman '89. This is the thing. That, you know, there's Batman, Adam West Batman, and then Batman '89, which is a gritty reboot of that. But that's really goofy compared to Batman Begins, and Batman Begins is really goofy compared to the Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Like you said, I think there's this mad like treadmill of escalation. It's just like,
Yes.
got to be more grittier.
More grittier. So, it's a highly frustrating thing to behold, and it's kind of. I think it's just dictated by A, the internet, and B, kind of market forces, where it's kind of like, well, we've done some surveys and people think it should be more grittier because they saw Batman Begins, and then there's this just spiral of just kind of like, Teddy Ruxpin has AIDS and also he rapes babies now. And it's like, what? Teddy Ruxpin?
It's the corner they backed. They backed Bond into that corner because it was like Casino Royale worked really well as an origin story, but then when it's every fight and everything has to be, you know, life or death, and he has to walk away with a like sliced up face and stabbed in his ass or whatever, and it's like, well, that's unsustainable.
Right.
You know, you do need an element of that kind of, because if you're going to make a series of these, it can't be that like every time he gets into a life or death, because eventually you become inured to it. And it's the same thing with all this like dark and gritty, but then anytime you want to do something, anytime you kind of go like, right, we want to try and ease back into the humour of what came before, or we want to do, you know, play something light-hearted, it just jars with everyone. It goes, well, that doesn't fit with what you set up, you know. And so, because everything's a sodding series now, or tries to be. I mean, this is now what, like you said, I think before, it's like the third or fourth attempt at making a new trilogy of Terminator films.
Oh my god! It was this. So okay, of course, I guess this one probably was a trilogy starter, wasn't it? I wasn't sure. I can't remember.
Yeah, because it ends on that note of like, we're gonna go off and become the sisters of whatever apocalypse. I don't know. I gotta wait on that.
I'm Linda Hamilton.
Call to John. No, that was the other guy.
She does look like your really severe auntie from Aberdeen, though, doesn't she? She's like, really, yeah. She looks very Scottish.
Betty.
oh, John, you're dead, oh no.
Give your auntie a kiss. Come on. I don't wanna.
Give your auntie a kiss now. I know this hurts.
She'll eat my soul.
Yeah.
She's great that she gives, because this is the scene where she really gets to sort of do all the dialogue stuff.
No, I love her.
She's so. Oh no, of course we both do.
Being an asshole, but I love her to death.
Yeah, we need more of her. I just feel like we were kind of robbed of because she said she just kind of really struggled getting work, and she just fucked it off because it wasn't worth it.
Well, and she landed half the Terminator rights, presumably.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, it's hard to tell because James Cameron's such a veteran divorcee.
Yeah, well, he said he's made no money out of Terminator, basically, because it's like,
well, fucking hell, Gail Ann Hurd, Catherine Bigelow, Linda Hamilton. It's just like, if I work with a woman, I have to marry and then divorce her. It's really important.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel a combination of the directing and the script let Linda Hamilton down in this. I think there's far too much focus on trying to make her a badass rather than just letting that shine through, which I think in these quieter moments she does. But then the dialogue is like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I'd drink whiskey and eat rocks and fuck you. And it's like, well, you don't have to write that into, you know what I mean? Like, it will come through. Like, I just make her a bit more stoic, make her a bit more quiet, you know, would be my note. But I think she
shines through the kind of lesser material, doesn't she?
Yes, definitely.
And she, do you know what? She refused to come back until now, and this isn't great, but I think it's the best one she could have come back for. Because imagine, she was supposed to be in Terminator 3, and they just gave all her lines to Claire Danes, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, and she's been recast. They've only actually, because Lena Headey played her, didn't she, in the TV series? And people say she's very good in it. I still haven't watched that. I should. I'm not sure where I can watch it, but I should do.
I watched a few episodes of it. It was a bit Smallville, because it was around that time, and it was a bit sort of trying to get the teen market into it, which was a bit
of that era.
But of that era. But I gather it's very good. I haven't watched all of it. I know that. Shirley Mansell from Garbage is like a T-1000, which is weird.
Yes.
She turned into a urinal at one point.
She turns into you. Is that true?
I'll turn into a urinal. No, she does.
Is that true? Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I've seen that episode where there's this guy goes for a piss in a bog, and they're like metal urinals. Kind of like, I think they're in Terminator 2. And they're like, yeah, bands. And then he walks out and the urinal. which, considering that she wouldn't have been plumbed in, implies that she's had to hold his piss. She's got
like a sack of piss that she has to eject.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so maybe I shouldn't watch that. It's gone down in my estimation somewhat now. And also, it's one of these things where it's like, well, do I dedicate hours of my life to watch 2 seasons of something which I know is cancelled? Like it's that guy. He's British. That guy. He was in Doctor Who, but then he was in Umbrella Academy, and he's got a big square head. That guy there.
Right.
Yeah. It's more dangerous, you see, because it's got spike keys on it.
I will give them this. These are quite formidable, but they are just a kind of can do anything, like just split in a bit, and it's like I'm just giant death balls then.
Exactly. I'm so worn out by watching these scenes because it doesn't have any of the kind of threat of because they're so ridiculously powerful. It's just kind of like, well, why are any of these people alive? Whereas, like, when you see the kind of Terminator 2 or Terminator, they're picking their way through a battlefield and they manage to survive underground and stuff. This is just like hundreds of people being eviscerated by licorice.
Yeah, and it holds no weight, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong, the effects department and all that are doing their damnedest. So I think we said this all the way, you know, even from Genesis and stuff. It's like everyone's doing their best. Like, this is not a slight on any of the.
And the visual effects are fucking great as well. Like, this all really cool. Like, you know, I think the production value is top notch.
If you were going to do a future war film, like, it needs to be like this. It needs to be kind of gritty and stuff. But gritty, I mean, it needs to be sort of. It needs to be grimy, is what I meant to say. It's because we've been saying bloody gritty for the last. It needs to be really grimy and less clinical. I think both the last film and the film and Salvation both had that, where it's just too clean. It was too sort of.
And weirdly for Salvation, because it's set in a Mad Max apocalypse.
Yeah,
so that shouldn't really be the case. Because they've got a bit of schmutz on their faces, but then they do the desert's so clean they could do a heart transplant in it. It's very,
you did.
Very yellow and green, which I'm not sure is Terminator appropriate. If you ask me, which no one did.
Richard. Is it appropriate?
Hello, it's films. Is Richard there? Yeah, I'm here. Should it be green? No, it should. Okay, thanks, Richard. You're the best and in charge of everything. Bye. Speaks to my deranged narcissism, is it?
Oh dear, we've really like gone into some horrendous like cynicism spiral.
yeah. So this probably isn't as fun. I thought we'd just be ripping the shit out of this, like in Prometheus. Thing is with this is there's not a lot to take the piss out of.
Yeah,
there might be later when Arnold turns.
I think there might be. Yeah,
but the whole kind of that is just like I know the whole like the because what Terminator 2 sets up is the Terminator can learn. But
not haberdashery.
I mean, it could learn haberdashery if you made it. If John Connor ordered it to, it could. It would be really good at it. But I'm not sure that means that also it would take a wife.
Well, it's also implying that like it's perfectly valid to see it learn anything. Like, why not botany? Why not crochet? Why not anything?
Well, it's just like if you leave it alone long enough, it just becomes entirely sentient. And it's like, well, why didn't Skynet decide that it loves curtains then? or whatever.
Yeah.
And when they came up with it, they thought it was the most brilliant thing. And they were like, oh, guys, we have fucking nailed this. We fucking nailed this. Imagine if you made curtains.
I remember you've said this as well, but like they trotted out this thing because Arnold said it as well. And it's like hey guys, it's covered in living tissue, and that tissue gets older, so he would look older. And it's like, yeah, but he doesn't have a stomach, so why has he got a gut? And why is he what?
Yes,
and also, why would he turn into a and it's that's such piss weak stuff. It's kind of like, yes, all right, but if we're going to pull at that thread, why there's a million other things that we could go, well, why isn't that? It's just an excuse to crowbar him in and then do some silly nonsense where he's a peace loving haberdashery drape salesman or whatever. And it's like, there's just so much wrong with that, and it's kind of like it's taken the role reversal to the nth degree. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's the natural like you said, that's the natural progression of a Terminator that achieves its aim. It's like, right, well, guess I better go and get a hobby.
Yeah, there's loads of them like running ice cream vans or like hosting a podcast on gardening. Like what? It just doesn't add up. It's like the Skynet would it learns things, right? And Terminator 2 hints that it kind of gets a concept of morality, right? And that is really important. But to have it go all the way to it's because it might as well have a sense of humor and stuff now. I will say, people don't want to hear this because it's in this film. I think Schwarzenegger's delivery of all that stuff is fucking brilliant. Like, if he was in a parody, if he was in like a Funny or Die doing this stuff, it would be considered a classic. Like, he's so good at the deadpanning of it all. I think he's really, really, really funny in this, but unfortunately it's in service of this. And because of what it is, you're supposed to somewhat take it seriously.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's kind of like that he's good at doing it, but choosing to do it is the thing I have problems with.
Yeah, it's what it's in service of. Luckily I'm so numb to Terminator being wrecked that I don't care. It's I don't know if he's gone back to like dyeing his hair, but he looks so in this when he's grey with the beard, he looks fucking cool, man. It's like, Arnold, stop dyeing your fucking hair. You look wicked with grey hair.
Yeah,
like you're like 70, mate. You're not fooling anybody.
I know. But then how am I going to attract the maid?
And another maid.
And they totally could put the baby in there, but they won't.
Yeah, not again. Another divorce.
It's like him and Stallone have this crazy, like, escalative hair dye war going on between them. Where it's just like, let it go. Like, why do you need to be this young virile? Like, Stallone looks like a series of air bladders filled with. And
sentient air bladders made of sausage skins.
And sounds like a water buffalo that swallowed a trombone. It's like, dude, you're not gonna, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, no. And that's the funny thing is like all that muscle stuff, all that action muscle stuff from the 80s that we're all so fond of, that was for other men. It wasn't for women.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No. I can't believe that those greased up men with big piles of other men was meant for men. I can hardly believe it.
It was to appeal to Willy's.
To Willy's.
So yeah, but you know, and that's the sort of weird thing of it. But it's like, but why they have to have this sort of sense of virility about themselves when it's like, guys, just enjoy your fucking Twilight.
Yeah, Stallone seems to be increasingly rolling out with grey hair, which again, it's like, dude, you look good, you look distinguished like that. It's when because they're fucking Expendables 4's coming out. This year.
My mate Lee's in it, I think.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
He seems to, because like he plays Barney Ross with that. He has to have the goatee. But he's got one of those beards where it's like you've had so much plastic surgery that it seems to come through in clumps, and then you insist on like drawing Sharpie on it to make it black, and it looks, because it's like, do you know what, fucking hell, man? Said this before. When I would say this, but when Travolta started shaving his head and letting his beard come out grey, he looks fucking. I thought he was a plastic surgery disaster. Now I'm just like, oh, dude, it's fucking John Travolta. He looks great.
Yeah, no,
he was
totally.
probably
I
had loads
agree
of
with you.
makeup and shit and Botox, maybe because Botox wears off and all that.
Because how he looks is in alignment with who he is. It's like, I think that, you know, there's something genuine about it. Whereas when you're clearly trying to force it that way, it's just like, well, no one's buying that. It's that uncanny valley thing. When someone looks at you. The problem with Stallone as well, especially in that first Expendables, when I wouldn't advise having that kind of shaped goatee, because you're essentially drawing a geometric shape around a mouth that's, you know,
a punch chorizo.
Asymmetrical. So when he's going, it's like it accentuates that. What? What? I'm Lee Christmas.
Yeah. This is the thing.
Lee Christmas.
That was supposed to be like a Lee Christmas movie, but now it's just being
the
marketed.
fourth one?
Yeah, it was like a spin-off, but now I've seen kind of awnings and stuff that say Expendables 4.
You know, it's definitely Expendables 4, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Originally they were talking about it as a kind of Lee Christmas joint.
But then that would just be like Jason Statham, the movie.
just want to be clear, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're fine with any of it, you're fine with that.
Well, yeah.
It may as well be. But, yeah, he's going that way as well. Like, Statham's just increasingly, like, having to fight the middle-aged spread.
He's like in his 50s. You don't fucking
he's got to be,
realise it, but he's older than you think. Old Stath.
Yeah.
He's closer in age to Stallone than you think. But not in surgery.
Or penile function. I was listening.
You're listening to Action Heroes Penis Podcast, which is probably
the Virility Podcast. Yeah, because we both caned Oasthouse again recently, didn't we? And then I ran out, so I was kind of like, oh, I might just start again. And you were like, have you listened to iPartridge? So I was like, no. So I found that, and it was like 6.5 hours of glory. So I've just had that in my ears. But there was that thing he says about working with the guy who goes into gay porn, and he was like, what's he called? Sodomic recreation.
Sodomic recreation.
Yeah, a well-known film. Luckily, he became the spitting image of Richard Gere in his own right. Anyway,
fucking hell.
A gentle hand and a gentle hand and a fair something. I can't remember, but it's very funny. Sodomic recreation. Anyway, this is stupid. You're all right though. This isn't sort of in the same way that the last, like Genesis, for example, has plenty to lambast because it's just so sort of. I don't know.
Because Genesis is a commentary we've done twice, and both times we've had a great laugh with it because it's just dumb. Whereas because I think, he's gone to a data center, he can patch into it, completely makes sense. I think it completely adds up in doing Terminator film in 2019 or whatever. But this isn't just, it's just not very interesting. I think that's it. What it does have is, for better or for worse, it has the chase structure of 1 and 2, which it should do because that's what it is. But I think it does that chase structure. I'm hesitant to say well because I find it quite a boring film, but it does it the same way as those other movies. So they're very rarely in the same place, and it's cutting to them on the move, in transition, in different places. They stop for breathers and they have to move on. They learn more information and they continue. They gain something, they lose something. The game changes on them. I'm watching it and it's kind of it is reminiscent of those movies, which it kind of should be. And
it has an incredibly high-minded sense of itself, and like the whole it spends forever going like Danny Ramos, like she's the mother of the future. It's like, no, we figured that out ages ago.
yeah, I know. Oh my god,
you're spending so long winding up to the pitch. It's like no.
Like it's like she's not going to have a baby. She's it. But also they don't help themselves by when they show her in the future, she looks exactly the same.
Just with braids in her hair. Or
exactly. You got a washout blue stripe.
Wicked.
Maybe get someone out. Well, you don't need to get someone else anymore because we got all the technology now. Fucking age her up. You can't give her a face scar like John, but maybe give her she's got like a prosthetic hand or something, or about some kind of injury. And also because then you're saying, she's not necessarily about her physicality. She can overcome her injuries to be the great leader and everything, and she's scarred in battle. But no, she just looks the same. It's like, well, okay.
Yeah, they've just sort of done makeup and a costume, and it's like, that's not enough.
Because she's supposed to be like 20, I guess, right? And then she'd be like 40 in the double future is.
Future 2.
Future 2.
The same future.
With a different name. It's been rebranded.
They rebranded it, you fool.
They rebadged it, you fool. The future.
It's the mini Metro.
This is it, right? When she meets Danny. Oh, Mackenzie Davis.
Is it here? Or no, I think they show it in a bit. Because this is supposed to be her thing, and then they cut out who it is.
Right, so later on they come back, and then...
Or it may be here. I mean...
Who cares?
Who cares? Press A if you care.
Press F to pay respect.
Yeah. I do. Again, all these people just don't look like they're in that world, do they? Mm. They look like they had a shower this morning, even though.
And then someone rubbed some schmutz on their face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I do like is that it's no longer after a nuclear war, because I think we've all come to realise that ain't it. You don't have people running around after nuclear war. Everything gets turned to glass and we're basically all dead, unless you live in New Zealand and then you die of fallout. That's the thing. So,
but let's hope we don't have to find out.
Yeah, but if you do survive, listen to these commentaries. So it's like, it brought about societal collapse, and then it's just been destroyed by war, and that works just as well. I have no problem with that. And I think, being post-nuclear, as you've just addressed, we're coming back round to that now for the sequel to the Cold War. But being post-nuclear was a very 70s, 80s Cold War thing, and it tapped into that Cold War panic then. And that was kind of a more prescient fear than the kind of Luddite fear of advanced machinery, which is also a big part of the Terminator. Whereas this leans more into the advanced machinery thing and less into the nuclear war thing, because it doesn't really make sense anymore to have a nuclear war. It's not really what the contemporaneous fears were when this was made. So that's the thing, looking for positives.
Aged well.
Yeah, well, quite.
Yeah, I mean... yeah. I mean, yeah, it does. I suppose so. It's merely a delivery system. It's not it's not clever to come up with a.
Yeah, no, and I'm just saying, looking for positives, sifting through the diarrhea for diamonds, and finding the odd unpolished cubic zirconia.
I poured this out of a carafe instead of a jug. It's like, yeah, but it's still dog shit.
Yes,
so.
but and not liquid either, just like a log in a carafe.
Yeah. Thud.
Oh, they got to go to Terminator's house. Oh no, he's been texting Sarah.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? So I get this thing from this thing, and it's like, and it just gives me coordinates, and it's like, right, and you get out your GPS to you, and you just go anywhere, and and why would she do that as well? Like, why would? And who are they? Aren't they? Excuse me. Oh, this film is boring the arse of me. Aren't they? Aren't they? The Terminators that have been coming back, because up to this point they've just been other Arnolds, right?
Well, this is what I was about to say, right? Were they... Because where the other ones presumably were all kind of, let's say, classic Terminators, i.e. Skynet ones. So we assume this is the first Rev 9 that Sarah's met. The others were all Skynet Terminators. And yet, presumably, and it's the dumb thing that you would hope at least James Cameron wouldn't lean into... And it doesn't even really, even the one that kills John shouldn't really be a 101. It shouldn't be an Arnold Terminator, really. Because why would you know what I mean? Yeah, what benefit is there? Because it doesn't seem to be that they sent it to prey on their fears like a Terminator 3. It just happened to be the next one. And it's like, yeah, so they're just tons of Arnolds that turn up. Doesn't Skynet think that's going to need to be explained?
Well, and also, how did that one bloody just do that as well? Like, that annoys me that it just, like, it rocks up behind her and goes ba-boom, and it's like, I guess because she thought she'd ended it and therefore let her guard down or something. But like, if that's just so that we can have that happen. It's not because, like, if this was the third film, then you'd do all these things where, like, oh, you know, she finds out, she gets it, you know, she saves John. It doesn't. It just, again, if you pull at any of the threads in this, it's like, right, so there's just been Arnold's falling out of the sky, and she turns up with a bazooka and just blows them away, and it's kind of, and no one says anything about it. That's the other thing as well. Like, where's all the press attention for, like, this giant freeway chase where a man, you know, pulled a bunch of rebar out of his face and threw it at a woman?
Presumably, she bazookas a Terminator every couple of months or years, and then has like a dustpan and brush and cleans up all the bits. She got like a fucking shed full of robot skeletons.
She has a Dyson, so she can empty it out. It's bagless.
Bagless twin vacuum.
Yeah.
I'll stab you in your dumb face.
Why turn back into him? Why be Gabriel Luna?
Exactly.
She's like, I've done it now.
He's got the cover.
I like
as
this
her.
guy.
He's got the cover. He doesn't need to. People go, you're the new guy. He doesn't need to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I've never like. Again, and it's the same criticism I would level at the T-1000. It's like the only reason it's Robert Patrick is so you can have an actor who plays him.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't need to be, would it? It's just like it would just be whoever it last was, and it would stay that way.
I do. Gabriel Luna, I think, really captures. I think Christiana Loken did as well, as I said before. I think she does a very good job at throwing spin on it. She's a bit more kind of. He was already quite cat-like. You know, and I think I'd heard her talk about she identified the kind of feline thing that he had. Gabriel Luna, something that Robert Patrick did, which he really probably shouldn't have done, is he gives the T-1000 a fair bit of emotion, and I think that's what makes him creepier, because I think it's simulated emotion. You know, what he's kind of quite charming to John's parents. Like, good-looking boy and all that. Like, he's a bit more advanced. It's a protocol. Himself. He can ingratiate himself. But then there are bits where he seems to enjoy being cruel. Like when he smiles and waves his finger, and it's like he seems to be enjoying that, which probably shouldn't be there, but it makes you hate him more. So, like, performatively, I think it works. Like, in terms of the logic of the film, it probably shouldn't really be there. And Gabriel Luna does a similar thing. He's quite charming around people, and he sometimes seems to be sort of enjoying his job. And I can't speak to what a Rev 9 does, so maybe it can. I don't know. Apparently, they could do haberdashery, so whatever. Nothing means anything. But he does a good job of, you know, kind of imbuing him with this sort of slightly, I'm not going to say kinky, but he's definitely kind of into it, and he grins sometimes and stuff, and it just makes you hate him. It's like, yeah, you're fucking nasty, you're evil.
He's got the sort of fluid movement thing down, which is obviously, you know, but then again, that's more of a T-1000 thing, is to be more fluid, because he is fluid, but it's like, but you're not, are you? You're a skeleton. I mean, how would you approach that as an actor, where you're like, well, when the skeleton's inside me, should I move more robotically, and when it's not? Imagine
what it'd be like to have a skeleton. Because most of us don't.
Yeah. I went and hung out with a salamander. You know, it's just like, whoa,
that's Daniel Day-Lewis's T-1000. Yeah. I was friends with invertebrates for 900 years.
See, this stuff is kind of because again, I get it. We're doing the kind of crossing the US border thing, which is fine, but it's not in service of much. It's just here because that's where they have to travel through. I mean, I don't know. Like, I just think. Also, why are they? Because they're trying to get to Arnie's house, right?
They get to Arnie's house, yeah. They need to get to Texas, just over the border.
Right. But it's kind of like, I don't.
Well, it's kind of like, I think what this does. This is there to do. This is there to be the mental hospital section from Terminator 2, right, and they needed something to go there. So they needed the character. They needed the. You know, that it's Sarah's incarcerated and they have to get her out. In this, it's kind of like they're all incarcerated and have to get themselves out, and they're locked up, and there's the threat that the Terminator's coming. It's unstoppable, and they're in jail, which is essentially what happens in Terminator 2. And it's the police station as well from Terminator 1.
Right.
So they have to do that. They have to do that in the middle of the film. And here they are, dutifully doing that in the middle of the film. Good for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
And then I said this, that the review, when we did the review of this, I sat and watched it, and as I watched it, I was kind of like, nah, that was all right. That wasn't that bad, actually. You know, like, it was entertaining enough. And then, and I think I'm on record saying this, I got out to the car park, and I was unlocking my bike, and I was like, wait a minute, that sucked. In the time it took me to leave my seat and get outside.
These are fake hands.
These are fake hands. Those women were in the nip. I was just stood there because it is that. Like, wait a minute.
It's that sort of like McDonald's thing. So while you're eating it, you're enjoying it, but while you're digesting it, you're like going, "Hang on a minute."
Yes. That's why I always end up shitting my guts out at 3 a.m. every time I've had a Domino's. Yeah. So I also do the same thing. I order it and go, "Ooh, a Domino's," and then later on I go like, "Oh no, why did I do that?" What was I thinking?
It's the junk food of Terminator. I mean, but that's the thing, isn't it? It sort of presents itself as being, I don't know. I mean, like you say, yeah, it's just redressed, same old crap, and that's, yeah. Like when you really unpack it and you just go, yeah, we didn't say anything, did we? Again, like no one said anything because there just isn't anything to say. I mean, that's all this stuff seems to uncover, and the best people can say about it is like, no, but it's new. It's a new take on what a Terminator is. It's like,
no, it isn't.
Well, it isn't though. It clues in the name. It's like it's. And this stuff isn't really, like, I know she's an enhanced human, but that seems to involve putting, like, sieve mesh under her skin.
Under her skin, yeah. And I quite like, so I like the scars on her body to insinuate that that's been done. But then it's also like, but did they just, like, peel all her skin off like they wanted to do that ending for Terminator Salvation? Just pop it in the fridge whilst they covered her in mesh and then stitched it all back on. Or whatever. They use nano probes, or whatever. It doesn't really matter, does it?
No, I mean, who cares? But I mean, it's like, what was it? What? It's never that well explained. Like, she's got some sort of robotic component to her, I guess.
Yeah, so you see her. She's got her own Terminator vision, hasn't she? Like we see at the beginning. And then, so this is so like the T-1000 going into the Pescadero. Like it's so that, which I suppose is the point. My whole body's a weapon because they put a bomb in my ass in Iraq, or whatever the fuck he says. Because do you know what it is as well? Do you know why he turns back into Gabriel Luna and doesn't stay as a woman? So they can have their trailer moment, basically.
Yeah. It would make total sense if, like, when he turned up, there was a bloke who looked like Gabriel Luna, who he copied.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And again, same thing. Why the cop who found Robert Patrick couldn't have just been Robert Patrick?
Yeah, that's always bugged me. That's always bugged me. It's just kind of like, and do you know what annoys me about that? In reverse, so many people think that is Robert Patrick, and it's like it's a completely different guy. Like it's like fucking Donny Osmond with a bleached dye job. It's a completely different guy. All right, cop is a policeman. He fucking doesn't. Watch the film. A film that was filmed so sharply that 2 decades later they had to erase his nutsack. It's very clear. It's very well lit. It's very obvious what's going on.
Yeah, so you mean just making that simple change, but I know the reason they don't do it is because then that implies he's the bad guy from the jump, right? But then you don't need to do that in this because modern marketing being what it is, we know he's the bad guy.
Well, it's like they blurted the twist from Terminator 2 in the fucking trailer. This time he's the good guy or whatever. They didn't even fucking.
It's the same thing in Genesis, right? It was like John Connor's the baddie.
Yeah, okay, so I've made a new burger. How? I put the lettuce on the outside. Okay, look, you have not made a new burger.
That's a burger and salad.
Yeah, with the best will in the world. Just uninvented side salad. That's what you've done.
Yeah. I like you say, it's that hotel suite full of and at no point is anyone going, why? Or like, what are we saying with that? Or to what end? Like, it's just procedural crap. It's like and lifted from other films. It's just this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens, and then why? Oh, because to get to there, and it's just like, well, it's boring though. It's just like, all right, I get. So to get out of there, they have to get the thing to get it's the what is it? Return of Skywalker, Revenge of Skywalker, whatever. Rise of Skywalker. The last one. It's that. It's just like get the thing, to see the thing, to go to the thing, to speak to the person, to get the other thing, to go to that. And it's like to find out the boring conclusion.
So, as you've you hinted at the start of this commentary, I just had a tooth pulled out, and I've just happened to get a couple of weeks off work for the first time really since Christmas. But I had to have a tooth pulled out, so I've been convalescing essentially, because it's not very pleasant and it didn't go well, so we're not finished. So I've been sitting around watching things, and I found the original Planet of the Apes movies on Disney Plus, for example. I love those, I watch those. And I was a part of me, Disney Plus open, I was like, fuck man, you know what? I only watched Rise of Skywalker once. I hated it. Maybe I just chuck that on just for a lark, because I'm at home. You know, I'm kind of getting better. It's just something to do. And I put it on, and it was still on the end credits from when it had last been watched. And I didn't watch it because I didn't think it was worth rewinding or clicking on the restart button. I got that far. I got it because it wasn't immediate at the beginning. I just kind of went, nah. That my lack of, because it was just a curious thing. Like, I might watch 20 minutes of it, I might watch 10, I might watch all of it, who knows. But I was just kind of like, nah, I don't even want to rewind it. And it's not even rewinding it, it's not a tape. I just have to find the button that says play from the beginning, and I couldn't immediately see it, so I just went, nah, I'm not doing that. To the level of quality, the dire level of quality I'm not going to say come to accept from a lot of modern cinema.
Yeah, I sort of sat through it, but it was definitely a phone job. Like, I was definitely checking my phone through most of that film.
I found that with the Boba Fett show. I'd be like, looking at my phone again.
Yeah, you know. It had filler in it, definitely. I didn't hate it, but it was, yeah. There's Obi-Wan's coming soon. I don't know if that'll...
Yeah, do you know what? I like Ewan McGregor as that character, so I'm going to give that a go. I pay for fucking Disney Plus, so why not? You know what I mean?
Indeed. I pay to steal your Disney.
Don't. The mouse is listening. What are you doing? Send a drone to our house. No, well, we don't live together. Our respective houses.
I'll split the difference. It'll meet it halfway.
I was going to send a Rev 9. It's send a skeleton to you and the licorice to me. Oh no, it's a Rev 9, I'll say, as I'm shot. Are you Hollywood actor Gabriel Luna? I am. I'm going to shoot you.
With Mickey Mouse's voice.
Oh, I'm Gabriel Luna. I don't know. I can't do Mickey Mouse. I don't fucking know.
I don't know if I can.
Hey, Pluto.
No.
Oh, Drew, I'm going to kill you now or whatever. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Mm.
Yeah, so they do that. What I find weird is just like, they do... Sarah's got a random, like, CIA friend, right? Do you remember the guy who comes and meets them?
The guy, just Captain Expo.
Yeah, and it's just like, that feels like, you know, like there are times in Terminator 3 where like a character just turns up just for the sake because they need someone, and it feels a bit like that. And it's like, man, this could have a pre-existing relationship to a previous character. You know, you're so desperate to shoehorn in references. Why not actually have someone who's related to the overarching plot, or somehow, even if it's a small part, make his presence interesting just because, I'm mates with a CIA guy. It's like, because when Enrique turns up in 2, there's this really implied they might have had a relationship in the past. They've definitely had a friendship. There's lots in its fabric speaks to who they are,
and they don't kill him either, which is rare, because most of the characters that, you know, that's usually a running thing in Terminator, is that whoever they run to for safe haven gets killed. Usually. Yeah, so not that they do it with many, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. And then he's just kind of there and kind of goes like, "Here's the suitcase or whatever. Bye."
Yeah, and what's in it? I can't even remember what
I don't know. It's just full of fucking tangfastics or copies of what car.
Yeah, that's what happens when they finally open it, like the MacGuffin case.
Yeah, her makeup's really good. All the scar makeup on her is really good. How ties the concept. Who could this be?
How is it?
So it's an hour 10 before we get him, actually.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I waited this long.
Yeah. This is
because he's got the scar, isn't he? Because she shot him in the face.
Oh, I never even clocked that because I didn't care. But yeah, good spot. Well, I never spotted that.
That's just how we know it's him, right?
Yeah, not just a different one. So they just send constant fucking.
Yeah.
He's a robot. You can't kill a robot. See, there's this thing, like they were singing some of the books and stuff that's done again and again and again. It's kind of like, oh, well, he was based on a person, and here's that person. It's kind of like, if you must bring him back, at least do something like that. So it's just not another Terminator. But I mean, it really is.
Well, and don't load it with all that pathos. It's like he's the one who killed John Connor, but he likes drapes or whatever. Like, come in, hang out, let's have a beer. It's like, what? That jarring tonal shit. And it's like, you could do something really interesting with it. But the thing is, again, you're just retreading old ground. It's like, in the second one we had this, it was Sarah hates him because he essentially represents what killed Kyle. And tried to kill her. Like, that has way more weight to it.
It's the face of the thing that ruins her life.
Well, it's the exact same thing as the Pescadero, which he runs to the lift and he walks out and she skids to a halt, and it's even he's in profile like he was there, and it's just like, but with way less sort of, it just sclerotically paid. It's like the he just sort of, it is the old version of that. Just like she can't slide over on a bum anymore, so she has to.
If she's anything like me, not without making a really guttural noise when getting back up again. Oh, fucking hell.
So yeah, that's yet another thing we just identified that's exactly the same, but it's kind of, again, it's don't deflect. There's this, I don't know what it is, what the temptation is with these films to take things that were iconic I say iconic, but kind of considered iconic in the first two, and totally not subvert them even, but just sort of piss on them.
Look at her face here when we don't have the sound on. It's got the subtitles, right? This scene for her performance really stood out for me because she's doing the same kind of haunted, broken expression that she in Terminator 2. It's like after she tries to kill Dyson, it's the only time she shows her emotion. It's the only time she's able to let her guard down, because she doesn't feel able to experience emotion because she's not allowed to and she doesn't have time. And here she just recalls that performance. I think it's fucking brilliant from her.
It's the old Sarah breaking through as well, isn't it? It's
the human being underneath.
The mother, basically, which she's being a mother again, even though he's not there. It's like. And
the real reversal with her is that she become the Terminator in Terminator 2, and it's this is like she's become the Terminator, but that's because she's cool. And it's like, no, the thing is in Terminator 2 is her being the Terminator is a bad thing, and it precipitates a mental break. Because she just can't cope when she realises what she's become. And, she's the one with the fucking red eye, because it shows her eye down the scope and then the laser beam. So she's the one with the red eye. She's the one dressed as an assassin. She's the one stalking the innocent family.
Well, and she avoids destruction. That's the thing. By embracing the role she's supposed to have, she avoids destruction. Anyone else in it who has switched roles, i.e. the T-800, the T-800 is destroyed at the end because he can't be that. Because if he doesn't, he will essentially still be a Terminator, because he'll be responsible for the death of the entire human race or whatever, because he will just create Skynet. So it's like, so he has to die. Anyone who's chosen to go against their programming, in effect, will die. And the T-1000 is a literal representation of shifting and changing, and not sort of serving your purpose as and all that. Again, like I say, thematically strong. But here it's like, is any of that? Did you think of any of that? No.
Yeah,
you didn't. It's just like Linda Hamilton's key, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's key, and
dude, no, just no. I mean, when surely they would, right? Because I used to wonder about this when I was a kid. I'm sorry to fan wank, right? But like, if you sent a Terminator back and it successfully does its job, you Skynet, the super intelligent, AI machine, you say you do it successfully, you walk to the bottom of the ocean and you wait, don't get discovered, you prick yourself into a wall, you go into a cave, not like, oh, you're done, take up cribbage, go hunt Pokemon. It's not like, well, once you're done, mate, you're free. It's not like a temp office worker coming to the end of their contract. It's like, or at least go and advance our cause. Once you've done that, go and move along computer chips so we can come along sooner, or go infiltrate society, go do something. Even in a hurry, it'd be like hide, not just like fuck off and do what you like. And also this, if you're going to be really nebulous and fan wanky, this follows a theatrical cut.
Yeah.
And that he was sent out, he already was set to learn when he was sent out. And it's like, why? This is the thing. That's why the director's cut. That's better because it's like, there's no reason you would send your minion out like with free will. Why would you do that?
Well, again, this is a better, admittedly better, but same version of the, John Connor in Terminator 3 not knowing, thinking that he should remember him, because essentially they're getting Sarah to do the same thing again, which is say he's a Terminator, he's an infiltrator, he's lying, all this sort of stuff. And it's like I get why she would say that in the context of what happens at the start of the film, but she knows they can learn. You know what I mean? Like, she went through all that in the second one. She knows that they can be good and that they can change. And that was the whole point. That's why they have a handshake at the end. That's the ending coda, isn't it? If a machine can learn the value of human life, maybe we can too. Well, this one did. So why is she going like, he's lying, I'm going to kill him, I fucking hate him. It's like, I know, because he killed your son, but it's like, you've had a lot of time in the intervening years. He's not trying to kill you now, so why would, you know what I mean? But she has to keep up this thing because that's what we want, you know what I mean? It's like, that's what for the audience. It's just, it's, and this would be hard to, and he sat there with the dog and stuff, and it's like...
it's so dumb.
It's so ridiculous.
Because they had to move the pieces around the board, didn't they? They had to do something different. John Connor's a Terminator. The Terminator's a friend. We've done that. The Terminator likes curtains. He's got a dog now.
The dog, well, because that's the thing, is the dogs bark at Terminators.
But not this one.
Not Carl. Not old Carl. Yeah, by golly, not old Carl.
No, Carl. Not Lenny.
Don't you like Carl? So it's just it's shit. It's a shit idea, and and they think they can explain it away with expositional dialogue, right? Because he says earlier, it's like, I wanted to become human, more than human, or whatever, and it's like, what?
So this stuff's great. His delivery's perfect. It's kind of like, I could change diapers efficiently and without complaint. I'm extremely funny. Like, that's funny, and his delivery's great, but it should be in an SNL sketch, not in a movie.
Yeah, it should be in a situation that doesn't, that doesn't require scrutiny, because here it's like, but. So what for the last 20, 30 years or whatever, you've convinced a woman, like, because isn't there stuff in here that, like, she goes, and this annoys me as well, because Terminator 3 did this, the original Terminator 3 did this, that whole thing about the fireman trying to lift him and he was too heavy, and in this she goes, she hasn't noticed that you're 230 pounds,
400 pounds,
500 pounds, 400 pounds. It's like, he's 400 pounds. So what? When he gets in cars, shouldn't they like hit the deck?
Dunk.
When he gets in bed with his wife, shouldn't it fall on the floor? It's like, what? Like, that's because he waves.
Don't make Terminator movies anymore, isn't it? It's just like,
well, they hand wave it with like, we don't have a physical relationship, and it's like, and she might question that, why you don't ever want one. It's like, and what does that mean? What, you don't have a dong? We know from the first one they do.
The first one he did. But it was slapping against.
It doesn't work, or does it not work?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? I think it's funny, isn't it, that the TX, like that horrible scene where she like inflates her tits.
Yeah.
It's like, surely
orgasms.
Fucking, because she tastes blood, fucking juvenile. But presumably, like with the kind of infiltrator thing, sex is a powerful weapon against humans. Like you would probably not. I kind of feel like, from what we're told about the Terminator, T-800 isn't sufficiently advanced for kind of human interaction yet. It can get into a base and kill a bunch of people, but further down the line, you probably would use sex as a weapon. You would infiltrate in a sexual relationship. That's the best way to get close, rather than just going in and shooting everybody. Go in, make a relationship with someone high up in the resistance, go up and up and up until you can just eviscerate it from the inside. Or make curtains and blow things up. He has that. This is Texas. That's a great.
This is Texas. Yeah. I mean, there is political commentary. This is no way of getting around it.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't make. I'm not going to give my opinion on that particularly. I don't know if I have one. In the
Danger Will Robinson. Leave it alone.
Danger Will
There's
Robinson.
A reason we don't do that here.
No, and indeed, but it is still something. We're aware of it. Put it that way. That's
we just don't want to drown ourselves in the cesspool of YouTube comments by angry people.
Indeed, it's pointless, and there's plenty of other places to get that. So just
have
at it. But see, this is like
Terminator just killed her family, so now she's really good at shooting melons.
Well, because she says that to her, and it's like, that is what happened though. It's like in the Terminator
Yeah.
kill her off.
Well,
But-
you know,
so what-
Sarah has to spend the intervening 2 years between the first 2 Terminator films kind of dating NRA nuts and military guys to become who she is. But like Danny, it's just like, just be annoyed.
Well, yeah, again, exactly. Don't rob all the agency from Sarah, which is just to say, like is that's what she learned, was it, from hanging out with Enrique and drinking tequila, and you know all that. It basically was like, pretend they're all dead. It's like, well, right, okay.
Yeah, I'm good at it.
Which is as good as saying act like you're really good at shooting. You know, it's shit. There's a lot of that in this. There's a lot of like, don't ask that question. No, we answered all those questions. Like, if you just watch the film, we answer them, and it's like not in a satisfying way, and not again. You've gone one layer, like she's like, but I love you, Carl. It's our son that makes no sense. Oh no,
he's not,
his
because
son.
he was like the dad. Because he's like, I met her a few months after I killed John.
Bumming around in Mexico
Well,
or whatever.
doing what? Yeah, and it's like, oh, his father was trying to kill him, and I showed her affection and stuff. It's like, what? Like, you walked to Guatemala and shot a boy in the face, and then you're just hanging around Texas doing what?
You'd think he would get far away from there as well if he didn't want to risk like getting into a gunfight with the police and ultimately, you know what I mean? Like you are still a murderer. I love the way they act like oh,
Yeah,
it's
because
just...
he's the guy who shut up the police station. What were you doing working bar at a Dixie Chicks concert when she walked in? What the fuck?
Well, quite. He has exactly that as well, but like he walked up in full view of everyone and shot a kid in the chest, and the police station and all the other stuff in Terminator
the rest
2.
of
It's
it,
like,
yeah.
And the police have him on file, so he'd be like on the FBI's most wanted.
Oh yeah, like, well, Gabriel Luna could use all that tracking technology for them, but no one's bothered to use it on this guy that runs a drape company.
But I took my Austrian ass to Texas, where no one would ever find me. So why didn't you go to Austria?
No one's going to find a giant Austrian bodybuilder hiding in Texas. I like the idea that he has to pretend to poo and stuff. Otherwise, she'd be like, "Well, he never uses a toilet." It's like he never
And he doesn't. He always has to blend his food, and inject it in his ear. Or whatever.
Oh, he has to. Oh, he loves his drink of oil. Oil. Yeah.
Yeah, because you would think, like, because obviously it's full of just pneumatic pistons and stuff. You would think that would need a service at some point. It's not like a JCB or an excavator can just go forever without.
Pluck it. Do you know what fucking? At least Terminator Genesis addressed that. You know, like his hand goes janky in the middle of a completely execrable scene, but like it was like, it's kind of aged out. See, look, he doesn't wear the glasses because he's not a Terminator anymore because he's done a growing up. Presumably, he's kept those since he killed John.
Yeah. Well, and does that imply he's been putting them on up until now? But now's when he's sunglasses clatter.
I do love subtitles sometimes.
I know. God, if you were deaf, you would just be laughing your ass off at this, wouldn't you?
Look at this. Look at this. It's the scene from Terminator 2.
Well, look, he stomps on it.
Like in a James Cameron film. Like a James Cameroon film. Oh, James
That's
Cameron.
ironically as blow. Not from Cameroon. And I don't like macaroons. So there you go. That's a bit about me. Oh, but he's left that on the Carl's draperies.
Just a picture of his van. What?
There's a picture of him leaning. Did you see that? There's a picture of him leaning up against the car.
It's not even.
There's like clearly a young Arnie, like leaning against the car.
Do you have a? I mean, I don't have like a photograph of one of my business cards on the fridge. It's like because he's not even in there. He was sat in it, but he's on the back of his head. It's just a picture of his own van. Like it's on the drive. What?
Yeah, no. So, and then we have to cut to humorous thing of him talking about drapes to Danny Ramos. It's like, why would he be doing that?
Polka dots.
I know it's funny. Yeah.
Here we go. Here's Sarah's pal. It's me, Sarah's. Because this guy's. There's a few British people in this actually. Isn't this guy British? Yeah. Yeah, he's fucking British, man. There's a
Yeah.
couple. Yeah, and there's he's been in BBC stuff, and there's the guy who plays Sergeant Mitchell from 28 Days Later is Danny's boss at the very beginning of the movie. Your big muscly guy from the future I put out earlier, he's British, and I don't think any of this was shot in the UK. Because normally when that happens, it's kind of like, oh, well, this was shot in Shepperton or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that's the case here. But yeah, I'm all but certain the guy playing Dean is British. Am I going to look into it? No, I'm not.
See, they do set up a bit of sort of funny buddy cop, like, because he goes like, I do drapes, and it just says Sarah sighs. And it's like, that's quite funny to imagine, actually. But again, it's like, again, don't waste the pathos. Like, I mean, what are you saying? You know, they become this sort of buddy, because she refuses to call him Carl, right? And then at the end, the way she gets him to wake up, because that's how machines work, is she says Carl, and he hears that more than anything else. Oh look, yeah, right, exposition character gotten rid of. That's nice and convenient.
Sarah's mate, CIA Army, whatever the fuck he is.
Colonel Bloke.
John Bloke.
It's an EMP. That's what this is. It's an EMP in that thing. Use it now.
No, all right.
I'm assuming. Well, it's not to kill the. Is it to kill the Rev 9 or is it to?
Okay, the Skellington's using the helicopter. All right, okay, I get that. Cause you've got that's effective use of them splitting in two.
Yeah. Send back two.
Which would that be for?
Yeah, well, in this case. Yeah, because again, that's another thing. Is like in the first one and kind of in the second one, they say like, oh, we only just got these two through before it was all smashed, and that's it. And that explains why there's only one. Second film again stretches that to breaking point. Then third, then fourth, then fifth, and it's just like, at this point, just send a freaking army, mate. Like, and again, there's nothing in this story that says only one could go back, is there? It's like, so having it in that sort of Russian doll nonsense, it's like, we'll just send 5.
yeah, you don't.
Baker's dozen.
You don't
Who
seem
cares?
to have much care for causality. Because that's the thing. The first movie sets up that desperation. They can only send, so then and. It's like, why not just send back a bomb or whatever, and the reasons not to do that. But this is just kind of like, well, they seem to be winning. Like,
when again, the directors, well, the deleted scene of the first one where it turns out it was Cyberdyne where they had the
it's your Twilight Zone closed loop thing.
Exactly, but what's beautiful about that is the causality. Everyone caused everything. Inadvertently or on purpose. It's like that. That's the beauty of that. Is it's kind of and then that's one of the problems I have with the second film is it's kind of like you're undoing that, but not in a bad way. And it's to say something valid. Whereas this is sort of undoing it all to say the same thing again but worse.
Yeah, the same thing again but worse.
But louder and shoutier.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, that's really unsatisfying.
With a skeleton inside.
Yeah.
At least they do the Terminator vision properly. Like,
I know.
But like Terminator 3 didn't even bother with that.
No, I know they had to gloss it up. That used to annoy me. They did it with like Alien versus Predator as well. They're like, we can make it look cooler. It's like,
doesn't make sense. Surely that's a technology that's plateaued. They've probably had that for thousands of years. Like, oh my gosh, I'm more nicer. I won.
It's like, this is what it would actually look like, heat vision. It's like, no, it isn't. It's an alien's vision. Like,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's not.
Oh, God, slow motion. Jumps out the fire, catches the thing. Hello, I'm Pierce Brosnan. I'm narrating it.
Pierce Brosnan. Yeah.
Yeah.
The World's End does actually have a Pierce Brosnan, technically.
That's true.
Really.
Yeah.
I'm a Brosnan. I like milk. Yeah. Want to drink some oil?
I like drapes. It's just rubbish.
It's just rubbish.
And at no point do we get. I think so. The first one, obviously, Sarah is ingratiated to us. What they're trying to do is sort of stick Sarah and John into the same character, right? So like Danny is supposed to be the happy-go-lucky girl who just. But then we don't spend enough time with her. Like we spend time with Sarah in the first one to get to know her first. As the sort of, for who she is. By the way, you'd find it very difficult to breathe. And it'd be slightly windier than that, I should think. But
rather difficult to breathe.
Eggs.
Oh, this is
They're happy because they're eating eggs.
This is where they put in guitars, Cadillacs, hillbilly music, and it's just like, okay, fine. Perhaps focus on your story a bit more than things like that, because it's kind of too busy putting that sort of shit in instead of. And
say sorry about your shed too as well.
Shed, yeah.
Why? Why are you sorry? You're not. And
you're not sorry. I kind of like the idea that again, it's something that Robert Patrick did. That I'm all right with them having a bit more kind of personality, the more advanced ones, because it's better for infiltration and whatever. But
but they would turn it on when they needed it.
Yeah, there's no sense in him apologising about their shed. It's just to make it's either for
it's not going to cover up for the fact that you just fell out of the sky and are still alive, is it? It's still the guy's still going to be like, oh well, I guess he said sorry. So
it feels like they were like, well, that
it.
might go in
Good
the trailer,
enough.
so we're going to do that.
Yeah.
He was technically, I think it's come out of canon now, but Gabriel Luna was Ghost Rider in the MCU in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show.
Yes, of course he was. Yes.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him a lot. I saw him in something else recently, and I can't think what it was. I quite like.
No, he nails this. But
he
again,
does.
like a lot of love for him and Mackenzie Davis, and I honestly, like there's nothing. It's nothing on them. Any criticism I have of this is nothing to do with them or the cinematography really.
It's just the intent behind it. That's the thing, because it's a really well made film with great cast, great VFX. Yeah. All of that, everything's firing on full, but it's in service of this pointless kind of script, and
everything's firing on all cylinders, but the turbocharger's broke.
We've been watching far too.
That's not delivering peak torque. That's
peak torque. Because the film is due a service, which it hasn't had.
So it can't come on boost.
Though the bodywork is top notch. Look, see, she's just got schmutz on her face. She just looks the same.
I know.
Am I mad or am I?
No, I'm with you on that. They haven't done enough to make her look like she's a battle hardened, and also that I think she's acting it all right, but I just think that they haven't done enough to make her, and also to be believable as this person who would lead the entire world essentially, because that's what she's got to be believable as. And again, they always shied away from that. In the first two, you never met John Connor, because that was the whole point. You met young John Connor, but that's different. That's not meeting John Connor, and he's just shown in that flash forward as this, battle-hardened, almost Terminator-like figure who's surveying a battlefield. That's it. You don't need any, and it's stoic and it's simple, and it's because that's all he's a MacGuffin. Yeah, that's what he was in the first. He's just the thing to avoid the thing. That's it.
Also, I at no point thought that John Connor's abilities and everything meant that he would do backflips and kung fu a room full of people.
Yeah, well,
because you don't see that in Terminator 2. Like when you see the future flash forward, he doesn't do he doesn't beat a bunch of people up.
When I say, well, yeah, and by the way, when I say he's a MacGuffin, that is not a prelude for someone to turn around and say, "Well, so what does it matter if he's killed then?" No. The point is what he means to everyone else. Yeah, the point is what he means to everyone else, and the characters in the story, but also the world at large. He is essentially, yes, he's a MacGuffin in the terms of like that's what our heroes have to protect, but he's also, he's a son, he's a this, he's a that, but he's the person who, and he's got Jesus Christ initials for a reason, because he's the person who leads humanity back from the brink and all that shit. So that's what he is. But to meet him, it's like, well, then you have to put on all these layers of he needs to be inspirational in every situation. And I think the second film stretches that a bit. Like when he says, it's in the deleted scene, isn't it? Which is really in the film now, because you can't buy the theatrical cut anyway. When he says, like, if my own mother won't, when are you going to start listening to my leadership ideals? Because if my own mother won't, how do you expect anyone else to? It's like, you're 12.
You fucking head bell end.
You squeaky head cunt. I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to you. Fuck off. I'm Linda Hamilton, I am. Have a bit of that.
Legion. It's called Legion, for fuck's sake.
Oh, for the love of God. And I'd forgotten that
there's
completely.
no such thing as Skynet. Ours is called biblical reference. I mean, Legion.
In biblical reference not found.
Most devilist. Get fucked. I mean, the John Connor JC thing's not terribly subtle, but this just throws the whole fucking book at it. It's like, Jesus.
Oh, yeah, I know. And this is the thing, we're finding out all this crap so late in the day, and we're like, we figured this out a very long time ago.
Yeah. It's not even that interesting of a twist. She's still equally important. They act like she's not, but like she is. Doesn't make any difference. She still has to survive. Like,
yeah, well, exactly what she is and
she's
why.
John.
What she is and why is almost kind of irrelevant, because it's like, well, yeah, again, it's just the protect the thing. Even if she was the mother of the future leader of the, it doesn't matter. She could be the grandmother of it. It doesn't matter. It's like, that's not the point. It's preventing a thing and trying to preserve a thing.
So to be kind of starfuckery for a moment, when I worked with Edward Furlong in 2019, he was under NDA. He couldn't talk about what he'd done for this, and he'd just been off to do his stuff for it. And people were speculating that he was going to have some kind of like proper, on-screen role. And I guess it was just the voiceover. That had done the voiceover and then tweaked it.
He didn't really say anything, anyways. He goes like,
"Yeah,
huh?"
Blow. It's not a lot they had to do, but he must have gone because he wasn't allowed to talk about it and stuff. And I think it was just voiceover. Maybe they motion captured his face to get expressions. I don't know.
They might have got him to do the performance.
He had shoes on his knees and he stood like
No, you know what I mean.
Yeah, they could have motion captured his whole. So he'd just gone off and done it. And I think people are kind of like, oh yeah, they're going to have him like fucking aged up as John Connor and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I don't think that was what was going on, clearly.
No.
But, there was speculation he was going to have a kind of quite substantial role. But instead he's there to get shot in the fucking face.
But the thing is, you never realize, like, anyone who turns up to a set any time ever is made to sign an NDA. So it's like even the fucking cleaner was probably made to sign one. So it's kind of like
not the kind of things I do.
Yeah, no.
I have done. To be fair, I have done NDA stuff.
I've had to sign NDAs every day when I've been on a big film. As part of you have to sign it every day. But so it's not. It's yeah.
I did a movie for Warner Brothers, but I was only in it for a day, and I don't think maybe I did have to sign an NDA for that. It's so long ago. I did Blinded by the Light. I was going to say before that one, the Bruce Springsteen themed movie set in Luton. There you go.
Shithole.
Shithole. F-H-I-T-O-H-O-L-E. That's how you spell Luton.
Sorry, Luton. Because we can do it. The Terminator has to lose the flesh on one forearm.
Yeah. It always has to happen now because it was so hard to do before. Now we can do it, so it happens in every film because we ignored the other ones where it's been done 100 times. I said that's an important distinction.
The other one.
Terminator Genesis just kind of goes straight up. Oh, the skin regenerates. And it's like, since when? Like in this, like he has a scar on his face. Like someone, like it says in the second movie it heals. You heal, I heal.
Yeah, I get the impression
it's not the same thing.
Like bullet wounds and stuff like that, maybe.
Oh, they probably still leave
like
a scar.
As long as they're small.
Yeah,
leave a scar, but just like flesh would.
It would heal. Oh yeah. If his face is peeled off, I don't think it's just going to scab over. It's a big scab with like an eye hole in it.
Yeah, because like you said, Genesis implies that it all regrows like around his fingers and stuff like that.
It's like his fingernails grow back or something. It's like, what the fucking hell?
Did someone just say get to the chopper or get to the...
They get the straps, I saw.
Okay, yeah. Good.
Blow! You blew him up into little pieces. For John. So they go to a dam, it's a hydroelectric dam.
Yeah.
So it's your Terminator industrial setting ending. Everything.
Screaming.
Boom bang. This is like
this bumming and then screaming.
But in brackets. This is like in the A-Team film, except the A-Team film was fun.
Yeah, when they flew a tank essentially.
I really like the Jay Carnahan A-Team film. Because people kind of like, it's unrealistic. It's like, it's an A-Team film.
Welcome to the A-Team.
Yeah, what did you... Sorry. Yeah. What fucking... Did you think it was like a fucking Fred Wiseman documentary? Like, what did you think the A-Team was?
Idiots.
Everyone.
Well, it came out around the same time. Again, it's that thing, isn't it? There's always that Deep Impact Armageddon factor. It came out around the similar time to The Losers, which was that thing with
Yeah, it's based on
Idris Elba.
it's based on a comic by 2000 AD people, but that was done for 2000 AD, done for DC.
Which is essentially the same as the 80 film, but it's good. They're both good. I enjoyed both of them.
I've never seen The Losers, and I hear it's good fun. I
it's brilliant.
Mr. Sunday and Meso did a good video about that recently.
Oh
Which I'd quite like to watch. Yeah, I should do. And it's just I think as they pointed out, like it's a cast where all of them are about to be fucking massive. You got like Jeffrey D. Morgan, Zoe Saldana, Chris Evans, Idris Elba. Like it's insane. You would never get those people in the same room without quite a lot of money now.
Yeah, no, it is. It's properly meant in terms of how big it is.
Three of those people were in the Avengers Endgame, which is one of the most expensive and profitable films ever.
One of them's Batman's dad, briefly.
yeah, Batman's dad. Oh no. It's still falling. It's great.
The underwater stuff's a bit Yankee, like in terms of
United Statesy.
Yes. Because it's just it's all right. I mean, it's clearly shot like not underwater, and then some of it isn't.
There's that bit in Terminator 3. I think I said this before. The Terminator's head is in the ash after the bomb's gone off and the light goes out in its eye.
It doesn't look like it's under. Well, it looks like it's.
It looks like it's underwater, but then it's like, but it isn't though, right? I'm not mad. I still think it might be, but there's no reason there would be water there. They just got blown up by a nuclear bomb. But it looks so much like it's underwater for some reason.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's quite meticulously assembled, but like it's.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time I thought it was underwater, and I think you could interpret it that way. But like you say, doesn't that imply that the blast door to the thing he was hiding under got destroyed, and he was blown out to sea? I mean,
everything's better. Down where it's wetter, under the sea.
In this one, he ends up living under the sea.
Under the sea, yeah. Here, Ariel. I'm a Disney movie. So I think this is on it because this was, again, it's the insane nomadic kind of transference of Terminator rights. This was distributed by Fox. I don't know what degree, if any, they paid for it. So this might be the case. This is only on Disney Plus in the UK or in Europe. So I remember Terminator 3 was distributed by Warner Brothers here, but I don't think that was the case in the US. Well, that might have been Fox or something distributed. I'm not sure. But and again, as we've said many times, Terminator doesn't belong to anybody. It's not like a DC character or one of the Warner Brothers characters like Dirty Harry or whatever. It just is this transient thing. Because Skydance are back doing this, the Ellisons, after the success of Terminator Genesis.
It's quite well realised, like all that, but and I do like that Sarah Connor's kind of the voice of reason in it, or like when she said like strap in, and she's because that'll make it safer. Or
yeah. She and Arnold have really all the comic stuff in that. Their chemistry's perfect. I think his kind of deadpan stuff and her reactions to it, she's really, really good. And if you see them, because they did rounds of press for this where they were doing like testing British snacks on Lab Bible and stuff, that kind of shit.
Oh yeah.
But they did all of that, and they did like Graham Norton, and they were fucking together. They're so good. They've got really good chemistry. Their real life kind of chemistry translates. And then for like Terminator 2, it's like an anti-chemistry because she needs to sort of hate him, but she earns his respect, or he earns her respect rather, or it earns her respect, as she would say.
Yeah.
I do have a penis, but I don't use it for my wife.
Made,
put a baby in there. I'm full of the sperm.
It gets kept in a small Tupperware.
I only get one
in my ass.
I can make one baby with the Tupperware sperm, the single robot sperm.
But that's the thing. As soon as you got people out there like justifying his presence in a film based on a load of on essentially pulling at that string, that's where you've just lost me. It's kind of like the whole point in the first and second one films. They do vaguely talk about the mechanics of the Terminator, but they keep it vague because And especially in the first one, because it's a thing where it's like, well, no human would ever have gotten that close to it. So it's kind of like they just know that it's a machine that's been covered in flesh.
It was written that it was going to eat Milky Ways and stuff to show that it had to sort of sustain. And the flesh dies in the first Terminator. People forget that. It becomes a walking corpse. You get a dead cat in there or what? Because he gets shot up so much he starts to rot, and there's flies on him and stuff. And that's something that's perhaps underpaid.
Reese describes him like a sort of urban legend as well, because he sort of goes like, well, you know, bad breath, everything, and it's like basically that's what a bunch of people in the battlefield who've encountered them have said, isn't it? That's a sort of Chinese whispers type,
right? You
know what I mean?
Because you'd never get that close. It's
yeah. So it's just been sort of, it's all hearsay and whatever, almost urban legend like, but they know it exists, and it's kind of that's more interesting, like it's from their perspective. Whereas in the second one, because it had to get captured, right? So that means that someone had to get close enough to do that, which I can buy. But then it's like, but then a bunch of humans hang out with it, so then we have to kind of and one of them's a kid, so of course he's going, well, how does this work? How does that work? You know, which is all part of the sort of father-son relationship. But then it's like, well. And they get away with it there because he doesn't pry too much and go, how does your bell end work? Or,
your bell end?
Specifically that.
I have an automatic glance.
Well, because that's it, isn't it? You have to get into this sort of like meaningless minutiae about how far was Skynet going to go to make it
and
look
it's
like
not really the point, is it?
And like he was going to walk in a police station and go, no, I am human, and they go, prove it, and have a wank.
Have a wank on command. Prove it, have a wank. Thanks, police.
Of the 80s.
It's our police training. And also Americans saying wank and bell end. Prove it, have a wank. Wank your bell end. Wank your bell end.
Did he not just fall down and break his leg?
Yeah, he did like a superhero landing, didn't he? Fucking
looked like he broke his leg.
And my arm, my Tupperware full of spume.
It landed on my sperm.
Landed on my sperm, the Tupperware. He bounced off my Tupperware.
The Tupperware in my ass just exploded.
It's so full of spume.
Oh,
we can't escape, but if I send my spume to get help. Chip, 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 chip. That's right, spume, you go.
Oh dear.
The T fucking Rev 9 or whatever, its vision's quite similar to the new RoboCop. So I don't know.
Yeah,
perhaps real drones use black and red and.
It's that sort of particle look to it.
The particle look, yeah, it's very common these days. I know. I went to uni with someone who did motion graphic stuff for like Skyfall and I think Spectre and maybe even No Time to Die. And there's the stuff in the MI6 computers where they're tracking the world or whatever, and it's that kind of particle thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's old Guy Hancock that I used to be mates with in uni back in the day. He won't be listening to this. He's too grown up.
Well, I worked on Skyfall too, and I'm still here.
Because we're stuck together like Steptoe and Son. We have that trapped sitcom character energy. That's our whole Polar Abdul opposites attract vibe. That's what we do.
Yeah, well, and I'm also here because I said Tupperware full of sperm.
Mostly here because we're both the same child.
Bitter, cynical, you know.
Yet purer.
With a healthy dose of puerility.
Oh man,
God, why would two machines stand around talking about it?
Yeah, this is the thing.
And like, and again, it implies that because he goes like, "Legion's the only future," and he's like, "I came from a future like that. They'd failed." So it didn't. You just never got to see the end of it, did you? So, and then also, why, you know, the Terminators don't have to, or the Rev 9s, whatever, don't have to be philosophically in line with what their
they've got a job to do.
AI.
It's the thing that Terminator sequels always do, just give the Terminators opinions on things, and it's just like, dude.
Yeah, an agency, and that's the whole point. That's what makes them scary, is they don't have it, or shouldn't, you know.
Also, I know now why you cry, but it's something I'll never do. But I will become self-employed.
Yeah. but I'll understand what drapes go well in a creche or something.
Yeah. Concept of aesthetics. Oh, my guts. Over here. My name's Danny. Go inside the magnet, you fucker. See, that's just like when she's shooting the T-1000 into the lava. Do you remember that? Do you remember Terminator 2? Do you remember Terminator 2 Judgment Day? Do you remember the director's cut Terminator 2 Judgment Day? Do you remember the Ultimate Cut DVD of Terminator 2 Judgment Day? I've seen that. Have you seen that? They've seen that. Do you want to see Terminator 2 Judgment Day again? But you have to pay for it again.
Well, it's that thing of sort of as well. Like I come back to it time and time again. But who's it for? It's just like we're retreading beats from the first. Usually the second one, really, but the second one kind of does it with the first. But we're retreading that, but we're turning it on its head and saying that was stupid. So who is this for?
Well, it's a Star Wars thing, isn't it? It's like we bring back the old characters to get the older people in, but then we don't use them, and then focus on the new people who, do you want brand recognition or do you want a new audience? Because you're going to have to, you don't necessarily have to choose one, but you do have to respect both.
Yeah,
that's what you want.
Well, exactly. And don't piss in my pocket and tell me it's raining. It's the same. It's I don't know, like because it feels like they sit around and have these committee meetings and go, oh no, we can't possibly change it that much, and it's like, well, what? But you can shit all over what came before, can you? Like a Terminator movie has to be this. I think that's the thing. It sort of has to be this structure, right? That's the problem. They feel like it cannot not be this. And they think the problem with Salvation was that it wasn't, I suppose.
Yeah, and again, once Salvation failed, it changed hands, went to the next people. And then, here's the thing about Genesis, man. It's kind of like, in principle, because Skydance had done the 2009 Star Trek, which to my view still, I think, very cleverly used the time travel thing to go, the thing you love still exists, but here's the new thing. It doesn't erase it, and we're kind of revisiting the past. And people were like, oh, well, those people are doing the Terminator film, and perhaps what they're trying to do. And they were saying, like, oh, it's going to be revisiting the other films in a time travel way, and people compared it to the way it's done in Back to the Future 2. And I was kind of like, look, if you've got something clever and subversive, truly subversive and inventive to do, we've never seen that, and if you've got to do it, give it a go. And, it made me think maybe there is something here. And unfortunately, in that case, there wasn't. Because it is possible, but it's just kind of like, you're the ones who had the most interesting concept but made the worst film. I think because someone tried to really stray from the formula, but ultimately you watch it and it does that for a bit and then just goes back to the formula, but manages to insult everybody on the way.
Well, again, it's that sort of committee thing of like, well, we'll give you the first 5 minutes or how first 20 minutes you can have your turn it on its head film, and then we want you back in the same. Because that's what it is, and it is also so nakedly, it literally is nostalgic wank because it's the first film effectively.
Except everyone has different faces.
Because it literally goes into the first film, and you just think,
Because I wondered if, because it's the thing, they just do it, and and it's really weird because like the kid playing Bill Paxton, they don't even put the tattoo on his face. He's not even wearing the same costume, and it's like, well, to what degree? Because you've rebuilt the Griffith Observatory on a green screen and everything.
Oh no, did you just run out of face replacement money? Like, you couldn't do the others. You could do Arnold, but you couldn't do the other ones. It's like a
criminal fucking waste of J.K. Simmons, who's wonderful in it because he's great in everything. But it's kind of like, why have you put him as a wacky comedy cop? Like, what the fuck? Does she die?
Grace, yeah,
Grace dies. Okay. I know why you die. But it's something I can do.
Technically, it's not death. It's decommission.
Oh God, Duncan was literally here. We had the Alan Partridge podcast on my television, and we're sat there listening to it, looking at a still JPEG. And I'm off to see Partridge live in like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah,
lucky boy. I've got to go. I've got Alan Partridge one night. I'm going to see Run the Jewels the next night, and then I'm going to Prague the day after that for a stag do.
Nice.
It's going to be a wacky old week.
Hat trick of awesome.
Hat trick of awesome.
See, again, there's that thing of like, I guess because it's injured, but it's like the important humans it won't kill.
Yeah, like, plot convenience is. Revelation 9. I'm made out of biscotti.
What does it say in Revelation lines? And lo, he split in two and stabbed a bunch of border patrol guards.
And lo, he had tentacles and was more cooler.
Saith the Lord.
And lo, there was a clumsy metaphor.
And lo, they made another bloody Terminator.
Yeah, it was in Revelations Genesis, Revelations Judgment, Rise of the Machines, Revelations Salvations.
Oh, that's right. She has to pull out her power.
Oh yeah.
Thing,
which again is kind of weirdly Terminator 3-esque.
Yeah, I know.
But I think this is the thing. I think it's ignoring it in an absolute way, where it's like, well, that was a Terminator 3. It's like, well, we haven't seen, we're acting as if Terminator 3 doesn't exist. So, yeah.
Do you think? And I want to phrase this in such a way that doesn't sound like I'm teeing up a political discussion, because I'm not.
Okay.
But do you think that there is an implied unrequited love between Grace and Danny, and that I think it's less like romantic love than it is, because obviously she saves her as a kid.
It kind of feels like a big.
I don't know that it's maternal.
I think it's a big sister thing. It's a role reverse, isn't it? Because she's her surrogate sister when she's a little girl in the future, and then when she comes back, Grace becomes Danny's big sister, and I think it's signified by their height differences. I think they're kind of the way she's framed. I kind of viewed it as maybe it was a romantic thing, but they've just got no chemistry. But I view it's more of a kind of sibling thing, I think, than a maternal thing or a romantic thing. To my money, I've never paid it that much heed, but watching it again, I'm like, I'll tell you this much: I'm not sure they thought about it necessarily.
See, this again is tonally. Like, I know we had comedy and tense moments in the first and second films, but here it's just like, that's the moment where, I just think that much as I love that as a payoff for Linda Hamilton and Schwarzenegger's characters, that moment wasn't the right place to do it. When she's like, "Ugh, Carl, wake up," and it's like. And also, it sort of implies that he didn't know she was talking to him until... That's a recreation of the shot from the second film.
Yeah. Do you remember Terminator 2, the second Terminator film? I do. I've seen it. Do you want to watch it again and pay us money to watch it again? That's how I feel right now.
Yeah. Let go of him?
Yeah, for John.
So you're holding on? Just let go. All right. Oh, no, he's not, is he? He's not. Whee! Get up and climb out quick.
He's just tired. He's a tired robot. Yeah, look, and it's like, do you remember Terminator 2? The second Terminator 2? It's a shot from Terminator 2. Remember Terminator 2 Judgment Day?
Can I have some money now?
That would be £10 million, please. I'll conceptualise your film for you. Can I have £10 million? You sure can.
We've come up with I'd say better ideas, but we've come up with ideas that I think are more compelling for what.
Yeah, the chief among those being stop making them.
Stop making them, yeah. But I mean, there's like gun to our head.
It's always been prefaced with if you had to.
Yeah.
They look so crap when they're like, yeah.
So that Homer knocks out the FBI agent and puts one hand on the other's bum. That's what that looks like. Oh, it is still working, but not quite.
Great subtitling, brackets beeping.
System powers down.
Oh, I'm so melty.
So he has enamel-coloured teeth there.
That's something we were talking about over lunch the other day. For
some reason.
Like, yeah, they would be enamel-coloured, surely.
Yeah, they'd have to be.
They'd have to be, because some people think, like, oh, it's got metal teeth when they know it's just metal teeth, which I've heard.
I've seen pictures of them with where it had metal teeth. I'm sure I have.
Yeah, I think there must be like some kind of just a random prop or something. Like,
yeah.
Puppet. The puppet. We got him, Grace. I pulled your guts out.
Why do you have his voice?
Goodbye. Doesn't matter. Bye.
I'm Danny now.
Danny and Terminator.
Oh god, they did that thing at the end of Genesis where he was then effectively a T-1000.
Yeah.
No.
And they did the Terminator 3 thing of them building T-1000s. But then I suppose John was from the future. Really, who cares?
Oh, look, playgrounds. Oh, look, chain link
Do you
fences.
remember
Oh, what are we
Terminator?
saying?
Terminator 2. You want to watch Terminator 2? I'd give us that'd be £10 million. Terminator 2. Terminator 3. Terminator 2 we've made. Do you want to watch Terminator 2?
Is she watching? She's watching Grace, right?
Yeah, it's Grace. But you know what I would have done? I'd have smash cuts to credits and have Grace by Supergrass play. Whoa, Grace, save your money for the children. Yeah, that's it. Like at the end of Hot Fuzz when it smash cuts to Supergrass. That's what I want.
See, and then this is like, I'm going to train you up. So, in other words, that's how the camel got its hump, because Sarah Connor trained her.
Yeah. Do you remember Terminator 2, Terminator Judgment Day? That's Terminator 1. Sorry, let me start again. Do you remember Terminator, the Terminator? Yeah. There's a storm coming. Do you want to give me the Terminator, Did you see that? Did you watch that?
Tormenta.
Now this is like
Tedious rubbish.
I think last time we did the Terminator Genesis commentary. Oh, I know, definitely we did a Justice League one. There's been a couple of times where I've got to this point and gone, now I never have to watch this again. You know what I mean? I've watched it in my life, and so I watched this in the cinema. I watched it with Ivan. This is one of these things. Yeah, That'll do. I've done it for a commentary, and it's like, right, I never have to watch this again. Yeah,
I did it. Well, I think I only watched it in the cinema. I think we started trying to watch it
for some reason.
My wife and I at home. Yeah, and honestly, we both, like, my wife and I just got so fed up with it that we went to bed and never revisited it. It's just not. It doesn't say anything. It's that, you know. And I realise that now. I think coming out of the cinema, I was at least full of the kind of spectacle of it all. But like you say, as soon as you start digesting it, it's awful. You pull at any of the strings, and it's just no. And because a lot of people say, like, "Oh, I like the idea that she has to take the she has to take the injections, otherwise she'll stop working or whatever." And it's like, why?
Why is that interesting?
So it's a limit on what.
It just creates. It's an easy way to create tension, isn't it? It just cuts to her going, "Oh, I've run out of juice," every now and then. This doesn't.
Quick, get me to a pharmacy.
Something I've noticed. It's just on a technical note. It doesn't appear to be. It looks like it's in standard definition. But no. But I mean, it appears to be standard definition, but I don't care. I was watching something.
I don't think so. It looked in
HUD. I don't know, Matt. No, definitely not. I'm looking at it right now. There we go.
But Arnold Schwarzenegger gets second billing, and it's like, mate, you're in less than half of it, you cheating.
But you got lots of money.
Yeah,
proportionate. I wonder if it's diminishing returns for him in terms of paydays, because ultimately he's getting paid millions of dollars each time, so he's not going to say no, is he? No. So I wonder, Terminator 2, he probably got, like, you know, maybe he got a cut of merchandising or box office or something. He's a canny. I know
Terminator 3 he did. Terminator 3 negotiated one of the sweetest.
Oh, that was it, wasn't it? Yeah, it's an insane amount of money, because that was the most expensive. I think that was 185 million or something. At a time when that was unheard of, and then he got like 20 million or 25 million or something.
28.
Like that.
I think it was 28 as a fee, and then he got like a really high percentage of the gross. Like it was in the double digits, I think.
Well, as James Cameron is supposed to have said to him, ask for a shitload of money and do it. That's what everybody says. It's probably a popular.
What are you going to do? No, I'm not going to do it then. Fuck off.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't need to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And he was fucking about to go into politics anyway.
Yeah.
Dreadful.
And it all becomes power plays at those points anyway, because it's not like he needed more, like 28. He didn't need 28 million. Might as well have been 100 million for all it mattered. Like he wasn't gonna.
Yeah.
Put it with the other millions that I've got lying around. It's like, you know, buy that ivory back scratcher he's been dying for. Like it's not. It's just about.
Puerto Rican made hush money. That's
yeah.
It didn't get him anywhere though, did it?
No. Yeah. So it's that stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's not been widely publicised what he's got paid for the last two that he's done, but I mean, he must get a slice of like even Salvation money, right? Because they used his likeness.
Face, yeah, and he nearly didn't let them. You know,
oh, really?
But I think probably that's what they say. I think more likely is he was playing hardball with them, because what they were going to do, McGee was talking about it. If he wasn't going to let them, they were just going to have it walk out and get his face blasted off. And it's like, well, because it gets its
Which it
face mounted
basically
off
does
anyway.
anyway.
But yeah, you get that kind of.
Yeah.
To be fair, kind of impressive for the time CGI face.
Yeah, it's not awful, but it's just very clinical.
It's plasticky, isn't it? Yeah. But it's like, that was 2008 or something. So it's like, I don't know. Because the one in Genesis looks good. I think it's pretty decent. It's in service of something awful.
Yeah. But yeah, true. It's better than I could do.
Well, weirdly, they did
Photoshop.
They did a bunch of Fortnite had Terminator, whatever this is called, tie-ins, and I think there was a few different Gears of War let you play as a Terminator and stuff. But they did Mortal Kombat 11 with all its nuttiness. That has the Terminator in it, but he's this Terminator with the kind of aged. But they don't have Schwarzenegger.
Oh, right.
They have an impressionist, not a good one, not nearly as good as yours, for example. Sorry, whoever you are, but it's just a not great. But the point being that Arnold doesn't exactly discriminate about what he does, and they've got Stallone doing Rambo in that game because these are all DLCs. They got Peter Weller doing RoboCop, which we know intimately is not easy to do. They had Christopher Lambert playing the movie version of Raiden from Mortal Kombat. They got all these people back, or just in because they were crossovers from animation and stuff. They've had previously they've had Robert Englund, they've had Keith David, they've had but for whatever reason, Arnold, who again does not tend to discriminate, didn't do that. He did do stuff for that Predator game that came out in the last couple of years,
right? Okay.
And it's just maybe it was an exclusivity thing, but it's I don't 20 years ago, it'd be he would never lower himself to that kind of stuff. Now he does any old shit. It's just well, when did you suddenly get so fucking
to get all
picky?
highfalutin about? Yeah, it's not like the high fidelity of Terminator. Who? I must preserve the brand. Stop making them.
If I'd say one thing about him, it's that he loves integrity.
It's just oh god, it's just drivel. It's just such forgettable drivel, isn't it? Unfortunately. Because everyone in it is sort of taking it so seriously, but I just
Ravel.
I think this has just left me really deflated, this experience. But
it's quite draining, isn't it? I thought we'd have a big funny laugh with Prometheus, but just kind of it's just not a lot. One thing I think we could have a big funny laugh with is if we do The Predator. Did we do that as a live stream?
God,
I don't remember. If we do The Predator,
yes, we did. Yeah,
I think it's worth the commentary treatment. You only ever talk about Terminator and Predator. So look at the numbers, mate. Look at the numbers.
Stop asking for them, then.
Yeah.
Singular internet voice.
John Internet.
Legion. I hate that film, though, Richie. Can we not? Something rubbish.
Yeah, but that's for Prometheus, because something like The Predator, because Prometheus is dreadful, but we had fun doing it. You know what I mean? Because it's just bad. This doesn't have a lot to comment on that's bad. The Predator has a lot to comment on that's bad. That's my appeal to that as a concept. Please don't make me.
Yeah, God, it's like punishment. It really is. But then it is, that's more what commentary's about, really, isn't it? It's not really about stuff we like, because if it's stuff we like, we'll just talk about how good it is.
No, I think this is the thing. I think Prometheus was a really good example, because it's just kind of man, just dick about, because nobody cares, and there's a lot to laugh at. There's little holes to poke in it, but it's a similar thing, because this is just a bit bland in terms of what it does. Prometheus, like we said, it's the most insanely brilliant production that has the worst script ever. So you could just rinse on it all you like.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, he's bored me to tears. Also, I got up really early to speak to someone in Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, time. Yeah, no, just rubbish. It's just all rubbish. Like you said, it's just inherently broken. Stop making this shit. I'm sick to the back teeth of, and I work in the bloody industry, but it's there isn't an original idea left in Hollywood. Not really. You might be able to point to one or two examples that subvert that. I suppose Christopher Nolan, but then stuff like Tenet, I cannot.
I still haven't watched that. I hear it's impenetrable.
Oh, it is. It totally. And look, I get it. I get all the stuff that's going on, but it's it's more that it's just following all the shit that's going on, and not because it's highfalutin particularly or clever or whatever, but it's just like, I shouldn't have to take a maths exam to watch your film, and but then on the same flip side you get garbage like this, and it's like, can you not just stop, take a breath and think for a minute, and hire someone who knows what they're doing and write something that's interesting? And when people say like, oh, if you're so fucking clever, you do it, it's like, well, I am, and I'm trying to, but it's very difficult when you're literally butting your head against gatekeepers and twats who just have agendas of their own and are only interested in nepotism and fart huffing and keeping the door shut. So good luck. If you think
I'm mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore.
Well, that's why I'm kind of to be honest. I'm just so fed up with it, because it's like everyone goes, "It's all the same old shit," and then you go, "Well, yeah, but and then you sort of wonder yourself, why are you trying to get into that? And I'm not anymore, actually. I'm trying to make my own stuff that's interesting, and because that's really the only way to get ahead anyway. Fuck 'em.
Oh, Duncan died. Duncan's dead, so I have to sign
the
off.
day that Duncan died.
His heart just stopped when he said that.
I do, but this film probably brings all that out of me, but it is just, unoriginal, tedious crap, and I'm sorry, but like, cinema's full, and if they don't pull their finger out their fucking arse and stop making the same old bland, tepid piss that they've been doing for the last God knows how long, slapping nostalgia wank all over it and telling us we're lucky if we to see it, then they're gonna die. It's all gonna fall flat on its arse if it isn't already. And things like The Batman are not like, that's not game changing.
It is. It's an unassailable work of
Total Film
genius. It's the most amazing film that's ever been released, Christ. Duncan. How dare you have a negative opinion about The Batman, which is so brilliant. Do you know what I like the best? I like the best how the man was sad for 2 hours. That's my favourite part. And then he done a punching.
Fucking 3 hours, mate.
Then he done a cool punching, but I didn't like it because I'm too dumb to understand how brilliant it is.
Baptism and hope.
Bury that at the end of bury this at the end of a commentary. But just to clarify, fuck The Batman. It's trash. I'm thinking that might be a triple down, because technically it's my third review of it. It's fucking hot garbage. He needs to get his head out of his own arsehole.
But that's what I mean. Like, just glossing, like couching something in highly pretentious terms is not what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, and that is an example of it. And it doesn't understand itself. It just fills itself with these stupid highfalutin ideas that don't go anywhere. And that's, it's just like, can we please try something new? Try something new, for fuck's sake. Anyway, right, off my soapbox and back to work.
See you later. That's it. See you later. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay, thank you very much for that. We're done. It ended on a really sad note. You can find us on Val Verde Broadcasting on YouTube or on Spotify or on Google if you just type it into the hole where your information goes. We'll be back again with more soon. I don't know what, I don't know when, but we will. Bye, Duncan.
Fuck off. Bye.